there was any at all, it'd be going to the right of screen.
Now, just quickly, Peter, for the viewers watching our stream today, there are 2 Tom O'Sullivans in the side.
Yes, there are.
For Port Melbourne. This is what I proposed, Peter. The Tom Sullivan, the one we're used to seeing a lot, the captain for Port Melbourne. We'll go with Tom now.
Hilly's friend.
For number 43, I'm proposing Tommy Sullivan.
Okay. Or Thomas.
Or Thomas, we can go with that just to differentiate between the two today.
We won't be disparaging and say he's just the other one.
Tommy actually kicked 2 goals last week against Williamstown as well. Tom O'Sullivan, obviously a star of the VFL and in the team of the year last year as well. So if you're a bit confused, if Tom O'Sullivan passes to Tom O'Sullivan, it's not a mistake.
Yeah, O'Sullivan to O'Sullivan, and it's Tom, so we can't really go wrong, can we?
Tom and Tommy is what we'll go with today.
Really hoping that they link up throughout this morning's game. So the team's getting out of their huddles, and we're getting ready for a start in this one. Round number 2 of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Looks like Paddy Vespremi making his way to the bench for Port Melbourne. I think the skipper might be heading there as well. Shannon Lang walking towards us. Ciarello and Jake Gasper, the 23rd player today for Port Melbourne. Nick Baltus, the 23rd player for the Tigers. Great initiative, as we say, the 23rd player, giving these younger players an opportunity. Looks like Tommy Goodwin into the ruck. Van Soldo will be going up against him. And we're about set. Round 2. Richmond and Port Melbourne all in readiness. Clock ticks over to 11 o'clock. Umpire holds the ball aloft. And let's get it underway on VFL Live.
Good to be back. Tigers taking on Port Melbourne, and a good bounce to kick things off. I'll give that tap to Soldo. Quickly got it down to English, but his handball into traffic, and Naish has to give it back to the umpire. A secondary ball up, still inside the centre square. Goodwin won that one down. Tried to get it down to Jared Blair, but a lot of congestion around this as Wolfenden collides with Ballard, who won the ball, and the Tigers get the first inside 50 of the game. Over the head of Chol. No mark taken. Here he is, maybe or Chol. Just missed his handball for Butler. Picked up by Turner, who gets the 1-2. Hand pass off. Tigers looking to get boots of ball. It's the skipper, Morris. Little chip in. Board is good. Mark is taken. Shot on goal is coming up for the Tigers. A nice little passage of play after a couple of stoppages in the middle of the ground. A shot coming up for Patrick Naish.
Borderline a play on call there too. After he took the mark, he faded to kick, and usually that's deemed play on, but on that occasion the umpire thought
pushing up in the Lyle direction. He couldn't take the mark. Richmond have got the turnover, and they'll work it into the middle of the ground.
Wayward handball though, and it's up for grabs in the middle of the Swinburne Centre. O'Sullivan did well for Port Melbourne. They're trying to find a way out here, eventually picked up by Vez Premi. The hand pass was okay, although some pressure here for Lang, got pounced on by Butler, and it is holding the ball. Free kick Richmond, just behind the centre of the ground. Flashy boost today for Dan Butler.
Wearing the number 11.
Normally number 7, up towards forward 50 in big maybe or Chol, but Waddell got in front, got the fist. Here's Jolly, put into the deck by Naish. Was that in the back?
Yeah.
It was a free kick for the ex-Williamstown champ. Now looking to have an impact at the arch-rival Port Melbourne. And his switching ball is okay. They'll work the outer side here. It's in the hands of Giobbi.
Yep, he gets into the middle of the ground, trying to square it up, and finds Templeton. He'll go across defensive 50 now. Vez Premi. On our broadcast side, the kick not the greatest. Morris got the hands up, couldn't quite complete the mark. Working his way through traffic, O'Sullivan. That's Thomas O'Sullivan, and he was dealt with by Beasley, and will take the free kick in the middle of the Swinburne Centre. Here at Punt Road. The kick goes short, finds Templeton, just edge of the square. Heading forward for Port Melbourne. His kick inside the 50. Haratuku there. They're under all sorts of pressure. The Tigers defenders. No one can get clear. And Dion Johnston will go over the line. We'll have it thrown in about 15 metres around from the behind post. 2 behinds Richmond. Port Melbourne yet to score. 6 gone. Opening quarter. Hard Yakka Totally Workwear. VFL Live for season 2019. Haratuku and Soldo doing the ruck work. Now a kick going outside the 50. Need a flyer. Working there was Moore. Just pushing it towards the line for the Tigers, and we'll have it thrown in.
We just need a goal here, Pete, to break the game open a little bit. It seems like a very long first 6 minutes of play.
It's actually almost 9 minutes on the clock in this opening term.
Scoreboard is showing 6.5, so we might have an issue there.
2.5 minutes before that clock started ticking, Hilly, so keep that in mind. As Port Melbourne regain the ball here on centre wing. There's Premi, who's had an impact early in this one. Hooper sends it deep. Geordie Lyle's on the bench at the moment, so the target is Khan Haratuku. No mark was taken. Beasley was mowed down. A lot of numbers around this one. We're inside 50, full pocket for the still scoreless Borough. A ball up. Northern end of the ground. Soldo and Haratuku. Soldo jumped early in that ruck contest. Trying to pick up the ball was Gaspar, the 23rd man today, but had a lot of pressure to deal with. Richmond won it back. In toward the square we go. Good mark, Van Noonan. Port Melbourne looking to attack once more. Van Noonan tries to spot his target in Gaspar and does a lovely pass. And Port Melbourne's 23rd man can have a shot. About a 30-degree angle and will kick from about 40, maybe 45.
Early stages, but like the look of this player, Hilly.
Yeah, he's showing plenty of it. And, he has got in and amongst the packs and taken on the tacklers. So he's not scared to be amongst.
As Gaspar makes his way in. Northern end of the Swinburne Centre, right foot's on the way, looked like it was off the side of the boot. So that's all 3 behinds in this game so far for both sides that have been set shots that have gone off the side of the boot. So it's 2 behinds to 1 in favour of Richmond, and we've played 10.5 minutes.
Melessi Smith to bring the ball back in. Finds Beasley short, and now the kick going long. High ball, oh, big grab, nice reach by Moore. Nicely done, Ed on the grandstand side too. He gets it across to Charlie Thompson. He takes him up right near the boundary line, right in front of our commentary position on centre wing. His kick going long and high. And boy, there's some big jumping going on here. Searle takes the mark for Port Melbourne.
Great grab by Cal Searle.
As his kick dribbles across the 50 into the path here of Jolly, who's just going to work it back. They've got plenty of teammates and plenty of space. Working here, Hooper trying to put in the middle of the ground, looking for Lang off hands. Tom O'Sullivan takes it. His kick up towards the 50. Haratuku nowhere in the contest, and Garthwaite takes the mark. Richmond away again on the outer side.
Goes to James Fletcher. he'll go on the left, down the line. Congested half-forward area here for the Tigers. Soldo was the main target. No mark was taken. Butler claimed as soon as he got the footy. Did well to get his hand pass out though. Markov goes with the switch. Naish has some space, gets a good look at the sticks. Kicks on the way, and you wouldn't believe it, off the side of the boot again. Richmond 3 behind, Port Melbourne 1 behind. We are 11 minutes in.
Really
12 minutes.
On the ground, it was favouring Richmond's end, but it wouldn't even be a one-goal breeze.
There's Premier to Lang to Walker as they work it on the outer side to Goodwin. The handball back finds Jolly, whose kick up the line is a good one. Cingarello getting his hands on it for the first time today. Former Adelaide Crow. Now in Borough colours. It's a high ball inside the 50. Haratuku takes the mark. Oh, we know what a strong mark he is. Hughes Beasley was caught in a tough position. He put the hands up, but it's stuck. He's going to be on the angle, but he'll be.
Today so far has been off the side of the boot.
Yep, nothing to do with the breeze because there is none. Haratuku's kick is a high one as it got the carry. It just has, but it's come off the woodwork. Another behind. 2 to Port, 3 to Richmond. Points, that is. We played about 13 minutes in the opening quarter, Glenn Hill.
There was just no momentum through that kick from Haratuku. He took 2 steps and kicked that footy. He needs to build up a bit of momentum to carry the 50.
Egmalesi Smith, left foot ball, clears 50. Goodwin goes up, doesn't bring it down. Ball's up for grabs here just beside the centre square, but a lot of bodies over the top of it. It's locked up. Umpire's taking a while to call for the ball up, and finally does. Quick hands out from Ballard was good. And a high kick to half forward off the boot of Collier Dawkins. We are inside 50 for the Tigers. It bounced away from Chol. Good smother there by Butler. Chance here for the Tigers. Butler picks it up in the pocket. Kicks on the way to dribbling. Ball misses near side. 4 behinds to 2. At the 14.5-minute mark of this first term.
Rotating the work down back. Van Noonan now doing the kicking in. That's good. This is not a problem for the Borough. They want to get this first kick away. Templeton's got it. He's at defensive 50. And his kick goes in short. And now Gasper can go for a run. And he goes with a high, long ball. Haratuku and Beasley again. It falls to the back. Garthwaite there in support for the Tigers, just paddling it towards the boundary line. There wasn't a hell of a lot of pressure on him as he ran towards the line, but it will be thrown in again deep into attack for the Borough. So we work our way to the midpoint of this opening quarter. Round 2 action. The Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL. Soldo just tapping the ball down. Egmalesi Smith, his handball was smothered. And now they've got some run again. Oh, it's a good tackle though. And holding the footy, Cracker trying to break the tackle. He couldn't get clear. Collier Dawkins with it for Richmond. There's the kick going again to that outer side.
On the right side of the ground, a bit of a shove there from Chol. No free kick. Goes back to try and fetch it against Van Noonan. And then, well, stays in play. And it will work out for the Tigers. Ballard to Chol. And he's just outside 50. Maybe your child a little left foot dinky kick. Bounces across the square. Jolly claimed as soon as he gets it. Rush behind in the end. 5 behinds for the Tigers. 2 for Port Melbourne. Halfway into this opening term.
As Premier will go short to Giobi. Shades of last night's game at the MCG. Low scorer, but then really caught fire. It's an interesting contest, this one. Templeton, they're still inside defensive 50 here, the Borough. Takes the mark. Gasper just waits for it. Then try to break the tackle. Miller grabbed him. Still managed to get that handball away. Kick from Hooper. Goes long. No could take the mark, but it did crash the pack, as you heard there from Healy Johnston, the kick inside 50. That not so much. And Caulfield takes the mark. He works it on to the outer side. And Fletcher is there. His kick further afield. And Baltas, the 23rd player, he was held up in the tackle. Cracker got the handball across. Van Unen, handball into space. Blair had to just push it forward. He couldn't. It's near the boundary line. The umpire will say it's going to be a free kick going the way of the Tigers.
Deliberate out of bounds, I think.
Yeah, it looked like it. Again, the player's not really under pressure, and we need to wait for the ball to come back. But it'll be Caulfield to take it at half back here for Richmond. 5 behinds plays 2 behinds as we're through the midpoint of this opening term.
Beasley with the pill. And his right foot ball towards half forward. Moore and Chol. Chol dropped the chest mark in the end. Bit of pressure from Van Unen. It's in tight quarters here. It stays in play. Silvestro intercepts the handball out of bounds. Right in front of the scoreboard.
And the little hill area that's set up. Imagine we get a few sunny days throughout the season. I reckon a few might just make their way to that side of the ground. Right near the scoreboard.
Sun will be in their faces and it'll be a nice day for some footy. It's a great spectator ground, this one. Sorry, Pete, you were going to say something?
No, I was going to say in July you don't mind the sun being on your face.
Inside 50 we go. Waddell versus Chol. Chol tried to tap it onto Moore. 236ers collided there in Waddell and Moore. Port Melbourne ball here out the back. As long as they get this possession right. Vez Premi to Van Unen, back to Vez Premi. Goes with the switch. Garthwaite again making a nuisance of himself. He was up against Walker. Out of bounds it goes. Right half forward for Richmond.
We have some. We got live stats happening this season in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL.
Ben Jolly up to 5 already for Port Melbourne, leading the way for the Borough. Boundary throw in. Over the top of the ball here is Cracker. His kick, I think he might have been looking for Goodwin, but all he did was find the boundary line. Glenn Hill gets a disposal.
All the 4 players who were lined up across the bench who were waiting to come back on.
First touch for the year.
Didn't take you long, Hilly. Ball magnet.
So ball toss back in, just in front of our commentary position at the Swinburne Centre today. Oh, gee, that was a high shot. Brewer had his head taken off though in the contest. It spills free. Opportunity, O'Sullivan. This is the skipper, O'Sullivan. Morris was over the top of him, but it's going to be a free kick going the way of the Tigers.
Was that a below the knees?
Yep. He got there the first, and then Morris just went in over the top of him. Turner has it for the Tigers. It's centre wing. His kick going along Soldo to try and create the contest. Falls to the front of the pack. Jolly's there for Port Melbourne. Little give and go from Lang. And now he sets his teammate running in Vez Premi, who's been good so far in this opening quarter. His kick across to Pearson, who goes from half-back up towards half-forward. Coming out to meet the ball, Haratuku. Might have been dealt with. All okay, said the umpire. Handball over the top for the Tigers. They look to clear. As Beasley will kick a long ball, looking for Chol. Oh, well done. The Port Melbourne player right in front of him and did well. That was Pendlebury, Ryan Pendlebury, player we haven't talked about yet for the Borough. As O'Sullivan, that's Tom O'Sullivan, the captain, gets it across. Pearson, his kick inboard has been cut off by Jake Arts. And the Tigers will look to get this ball away. Tomajo's got the handball out. Now a high kick up towards 50 for the Tigers.
Front on contact.
And it is front on contact, and it is advantage, and the Borough are away.
Tigers just over handball there through the middle of the ground, and it all came unstuck in the end. Haratuku can't make it stick. Now Morris might have been taken high. Hand pass looking for Garthwaite, but he was surrounded by Borough players. Kept in play here by Caulfield, does well to get it to Naish. Gets his kick out in time. Now, he's a new contender, potentially, a new candidate for the Igniter in Brewer. One to think about there, Peter.
No.
Maybe your Charles got plenty of space on the outer side. He can ignite things himself from time to time. Half forward, Moore had a good start to this game as well. A couple of options asking for it inside 50, including Arts. Moore holds onto it and goes bang from outside the arc. It's going to land in the goal square. Mark was dropped right on the line. Still a chance for the Tigers. The quick snap across the face, and Jolly fist it through for a minor score. It's now a goal worth of behinds for Richmond. 6 behinds to 2 behinds, and we are into time on in this opening term. The snap on goal that was unsuccessful was from English.
As Searle kicks to himself and then has to go with a short handball. He's looking for Pearson, the kick going long. and out of bounds on the full. So Markov to bring the ball back in.
Quite a bit of rustiness from both teams throughout the game. They've had their chances and haven't been able to capitalise. But even just with some of the ball movement, just a simple clearing kick there. Pearson in the open, but unfortunately a skill error and out in the full.
So Markov will kick deep inside the 50. Chol came from 3 back, but plenty of Borough numbers at the fall of this ball. Vez Premi works it across the ground. It's okay. Walker takes it. Still at defensive 50 for the Borough. Squares it inboard. The kick not the greatest. And then away your chance. The Tigers. Ballard is brought down the tackle at the crucial moment. And the Borough again can reset. Jolly on centre wing. His kick up towards half forward. Lyle, he's going to leave it for his teammates. Gasper in space. Garthwaite makes a nuisance of himself though, and that is quarter time.
It's a very short quarter.
That is amazing.
That'd be about 22 and a half minutes, that opening term. I suppose when you've got 6 behinds on the board to 2 behinds, you're not kicking a lot of goals, you're not having a lot of stoppages. It was quite a free-flowing quarter, to be fair. But anyway, 6 behinds plays 2 behinds. No goal kickers. We might go into some stats. Have we got any stats to quarter time, Adam?
Leading disposal getter on the ground is Ben Jolly. No surprise there with 8. Paddy Vez Premi has 6. Eli Templeton 5, as well as Walker 5 for Port Melbourne. Hugh Beasley leading the way for the Tigers with 5, as well as Turner, who has 5 as well.
All right, so it is quarter time here in this Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL match at the Swinburne Centre. Punt Road, 6 behinds the Tigers. Port Melbourne 2 behinds. You look at the scoreline, you think, wow, has it been a good game? It actually has been quite a competitive contest between these two sides. And the other thing, the key thing is, it's been free-flowing. The reason why we've had a short quarter is because we haven't had a lot of stoppages. There've been barely any bounces around the ground.
Well,
obviously no centre bounces.
This is the thing, Peter. The new rule changes that have come in, we sometimes get too caught up in increasing scoring. Now, for the aesthetic of the game, it's not necessarily scoring, it's actually game flow that's actually more important. If the ball is zipping around, we're seeing good skills around the ground. That's just as important as the scoring itself, and I think this was a good example of that. I was entertained for those 22 and a half minutes. That was a pretty good footy that we were watching. We just didn't see it convert in front of the sticks. And that's just as important for the look of the game as scoring itself.
Yeah, and you look at all the other key stats and you can see that pretty much, all even across the board here as well. So, it is an interesting contest, this one. We'll take a break. On the other side of the break, we'll bring you some more of the team stats, courtesy of the new app, and then we'll bring you all the second quarter action. Really interesting, intriguing contest, this one at the Swinburne Centre at Punt Road Oval. It's Richmond 6 behinds, at Port Melbourne 2 behinds, and this is the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL on VFL Live.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
There you go.
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly, you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations, plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
Or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
It's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
1-2, Jamie Wick up first. Craig Lowndes
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Well, it was a very quick opening term here at the Swinburne Centre, and we did not see a goal. Richmond 6 behinds, Port Melbourne 2 behinds in this round 2 clash between the Tigers and the Borough. Adam Sarikoglu, Peter Mercado, Glenn Hill is in the huddles at the moment. Don't know if he's in the Port Melbourne or Richmond huddle actually, but we'll hear from Hilly shortly. Peter Mercado rejoins me. A couple of team stats, Peter. We'll have a look.
Yeah.
This VFL app, by the way, is
sensational,
just
isn't it?
gone from strength to strength. We're getting live stats now, which is unbelievable.
So kicks 50 to 47 in favour of Richmond. More handballs for the Borough. Marks 30 to 22, but the inside 50s, 11 plays 10. Gives you an idea of how close this contest is, and the rebound 50 is exactly the same. So they're getting in and they're bouncing straight back out, both teams here. There's not a lot to separate them, as you would expect. We went through the stats leaders to quarter time. 8 disposals for Ben Jolly, leading all players on the ground. Paddy Vespremi with 6. Eli Templeton and Campbell Walker with 5, along with Hugh Beasley. And also getting some stats, Fraser Turner for Richmond with 5, and then you got a whole host on 4. So good to see that there's an even spread, but again, with this close contest, you'd be expecting that to be occurring. So yeah, tight contest this one, and really looking forward to seeing what happens in the next 3 quarters, because if we get a similarly tight contest with this style of play, it's going to be a cracking encounter.
It will be, as the two coaches, Craig McRae, Gary Ayres, dishing out the instructions. Still can't spot Hilly, by the way. I don't know which huddle Hilly's gone to. I suspect it might be...
He's over at Richmond.
I was going to say, it might have been Paul Melbourne. We know how close he is with Ayresy. But
no, save that for 3/4 time.
Hopefully we'll quickly hear from Craig McRae before this second term it does get underway. Peter, we've got a bit of time to fill here. Do you want to maybe look at the other games around the grounds that we've got coming up? We've got Casey and North Melbourne later today at Casey Fields. We'll be taking on Coburg tonight, and then tomorrow Sandringham, Box Hill at Marvel Stadium is a curtain raiser game. Geelong takes on the Northern Blues at GMHBA Stadium, and Frankston v Williamstown. Is that the Battle of the Bay, perhaps? The Port Phillip Cup potentially between Frankston and Williamstown. Bombers have the bye. We'll see the Bombers next week here on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. That's what we've got coming up in round 2. And of course, last night an easy win for the Footscray Bulldogs, 17-10, 112. Collingwood only 6-4-40 in that one.
What would be the match of the round, do you think? Of those upcoming matches?
Ruby Coburg's one I'm interested in from a standalone perspective. Neither played finals last year. Sandringham and Box Hill will be interesting at Marvel Stadium. Box Hill obviously knows Marvel quite well with all the grand finals they've recently played in. I'm probably liking that one, to be honest. Maybe Casey, North Melbourne as well.
As Hilly just getting into position. Jump in, Hilly. Go for it.
Thanks, Craig, for joining us. It was a tight first quarter, probably not the way you would have liked some of the forward entries.
I just thought the game was going to be this, to be honest. So coming into it, I thought they're going to play a style of game that's going to challenge us in certain parts. I thought the game was a bit too fast for us. Like, we just up and back. It was a bit like basketball, and that's probably more their style than ours. So we're just going to have to control the tempo of the game a bit better.
Port Melbourne was certainly moving the ball through the corridor, which would have been worrying.
Yeah, well, that's a focus going in to try to protect the corridor, because we knew they were going to do that. So we're just going to be better at it.
Yeah. Certainly. Thanks, Craig.
Craig McRae with Glenn Hill. Boundary Sides, the Tigers coach. 6 behind to 2, even though he says he was maybe expecting this style of game. I don't think he was expecting 6 behinds to 2.
I don't think any of us were. Interesting analogy comparing it to basketball. All the scoring has come from the line pick.
It has.
Nothing but 1-pointers.
All right. Yeah, a lot of and ones coming in. So back in position. We're getting ready for the second quarter. It's a 4-point ball game.
6-6-6 in action. Although Port have 2 in the square at the southern end. Is that allowed?
You have multiples in the square, can't you?
Is that allowed, Hilly, in the 6-6-6?
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters.
So you've got to have at least 1 in the square.
You must have at least 1. I think you can have multiple.
Second term underway here at the Swinburne Centre. Goodwin up against Soldo as it was to start the game. Templeton's handball. Turnover here. Richmond get it back. Arts up towards half forward, finds Moore. Butler's asking for it, but he's a long way from Callum Moore here. So he goes in board for Nate, who had a good opening term. Markov is free, left half forward. He's now going to be marked by Gaspar. Long ball in, Butler went up, no mark was taken. Markov, hand pass off. A little kick from Collier Dawkins is okay. Mark taken by Miller. So the Tigers are patient here. slowing the game down, as Craig McRae suggested to Hilly moments ago. Chol, the target of the kick. At the back, though, Pendlebury. Another one to come across over to Summer from Collingwood. Now Waddell. Bouncing ball. That's going to find the boundary line. Boundary throw in on the punt road side of the Swinburne Centre.
Well, it's going to be a free kick, though.
Wow.
Oh, hang on.
Was that deliberate? I think it might have been.
He looked like he was trying to keep it in play with the way he snapped the ball.
So Naish kick, looking for Soldo. Double grabber, he's got it.
So this will be interesting to see whether he pings away at goal here or looks to pass off.
Well, he's sort of pointing as if he's going to go deep. He's not going to go the trip. He's going to go top of the goal square. Chol almost couldn't take the mark. Still paddled it forward. Moore got it back out. Off a step, the kick there from English, no good. Out of bounds on the full.
The Borough's closing efforts in their back 50 have been fantastic, and that's part of the reason why Richmond haven't put one on the scoreboard just yet.
Searle to kick the ball in from the back pocket. His kick going long. All sorts of manhandling going on between Haratuku and Caulfield. And Caulfield will get the holding free kick. Goes across the ground. Finds Soldo, who goes even further across the ground. 47 back to 46 to Miller. He's worked it back to 45. Nicely symmetrical. As Naish's kick inside 50 is going to be turned over again. And Cal Moore just saying, give me a bit more height here. Pendlebury picked the ball up, but the ball is going to be rebounded back in. Morris, short ball. Butler, not 15, turns around, has a shot and misses again. 7 behinds, plays 2 behinds. We've gone 2.5 in the second quarter.
When the first goal is kicked in this game, it's going to be a roar like a soccer match.
Igmalesi Smith takes a good mark in front of Haratuku.
Haratuku's playing from behind today. He hasn't been playing much in front. He's been caught out already 3 times in this quarter. Have only been going 2 and a bit minutes.
Igmalesi Smith looking for Chol. He's been the go-to man, but Moore goes up. No mark taken. Was he pushed? He was. Shot on goal. Coming up for Richmond. Right in front of the Jack Dye stand. No wind, as you've mentioned, Hilly. Still day. Perfect day for football.
He's
going the curve.
Going the snap here, which is interesting because he's a pretty good kick of the football. I would have just gone.
Moore with the snap, and that looks good. Finally a goal. 3.5 minutes into the second term, Cal Moore gets the first of the day.
Bit of action here, about 12 onto 1 here.
There's a lot of yellow and black in that, and a whistle has gone here. The umpire's blown a whistle. That might indicate a free kick.
Could be a free kick.
In the middle here.
Free kick to Port Melbourne in the middle of the ground.
Okay, so it's Port Melbourne's way. I was going to say, if it's Richmond's way, it would be another shot on goal.
And it's still going too. Inside 50 for Richmond. Bit of push and shove going on. It breaks up, but they're going to get moving. And I think the word's gone out to the Borough bench to say, get down there because you've got the free kick.
1-7-13
Not sure
playing
they
2
do
points.
because they are setting up as if
it's going back the other way.
As if it was just a normal setup, but the whistle blew.
There's still the bumping going on. It's just moved its way now to the middle of the ground. Let's see. Is it going to be a 0-0 draw?
Out of all that, nothing.
Nothing.
That's interesting.
They still had to run anyway, the Port Melbourne forwards and the Richmond backs to get into the 6-6-6. Now, are they getting a warning?
Yes.
They are. Is it a Richmond warning? I think it might be as the ball's tossed back up. After all of that, we're still in the middle of the ground. Templeton lost a handle on the ball. Oh boy.
Tommy Goodwin's
just unloaded.
Cleaned one of the Richmond players up there.
Oh, be careful because he's in the vicinity again. It's a hot footy at the moment. It's just gone up again. Goodwin, they're going to pile in on top of him. Stand by. Ball's eventually released. The push and shove continuing.
It's happening off the ball here with players not worrying about what's happening with the ball.
Oh, a bit of a push out to Igmalesi Smith on his way back to the bench. Oh, Tommy O'Sullivan's fired up. English there as well for Richmond. He's got his hand on the footy. And now he's dumped English. Ball on the deck. Templeton managed to hurl that ball out. Tom O'Sullivan for Port Melbourne to Goodwin, who just hacks the ball up towards 50. Now Markov runs onto it for Richmond. He's got a good kick on him, and it is. It's good. Thompson will go short, finding Ballard. Handball over the top. English has run on. He's kicked from 45, misses. 1-8-14 plays 2 behinds. We've gone 5, almost 6 minutes in this second quarter. It's just gone up a gear.
Harvey Hooper to bring this in for Port Melbourne. Runs out of the square. No longer have to kick it to yourself as he goes broadcast side. Goodwin and Lyle, some of the tall timber for Port Melbourne. Ball's fisted down. Woofenden forced over the line. Boundary throw in as Port Melbourne captain has a spell. Just wanders by Hilly, boundary side. It's been busy, Tom Sullivan. Boundary throw in.
Both Tom Sullivans have been busy today.
Bouncing ball here. Goodwin just tried to ease it to his teammate, but it didn't work out. English goes inside 50. No mark taken. Waddell's handball over the top. Did well to set up Giobbi. Now Jolly. Hooper, bouncing ball, has 2 Tigers to deal with. Back to Jolly. The experienced hand goes over the shoulder with his kick and picks out Van Noonan. Did well in the end.
It's probably been Port's best, Van Noonan. Had a sensational game off half-back so far.
I reckon Ben Jolly's been good as well. Forced into the deck was Gasper.
It was almost sort of a spear tackle style, like you see in the NRL.
There's a bit of feeling in this contest since the opening goal. It's carrying around the ground at the moment. It's not one specific player or a group of players. Everybody's a little heated.
Wasn't a great kick by Gasper. Turned it over to Markov, looking for Chol. Butler at the full. He can take a bounce, Butler. Needs to get his kick away and does. Moore's in the goal square. Dropped the mark. Still in play. Moore. Wobbly handball. Hooper got a hand on it. Chance for the Tigers. Silvestro went in hard for the ball. Got claim straight away. Moore went without it. Woofenden with the tackle. Well done, Port Melbourne. Ball up.
Great tackling from Port Melbourne there, saving a certain goal.
Yeah, desperate just to hold that ball in. Now it's tossed up. Soldo and Goodwin. Ball falls for Templeton. He fumbles, but got plenty of teammates, although this one's picked up. Dangerous. Thompson trying to keep it in the field of play. Does. Top of the goal square. Chol had an opportunity. Ball falls to Butler. He just kicks it away from goal because he knows he's got the numbers. And having a shot at it is Fletcher, who kicks it. And another one on the board here, the Tigers.
Just starting to get a bit of worrying signs here for Port Melbourne. Only the 2 points on the board so far, and we're nearly 10 minutes into the second quarter. So they're getting plenty of football, Port Melbourne. They're not being able to generate good forward 50 entries.
It's nice to hear a Tiger roaring off the scoreboard. It's not like other grounds where the Tiger had to be put down, unfortunately, but here it is roaring. Equally like the little Swinburne logo that features after it too, just quietly, Adam. Very nice.
Swinburne Centre.
Yes, don't forget that. We're at the Swinburne Centre.
Looking forward to being at Windy Hill in a couple of weeks here on VFL Live.
You mean after we finish at the Swinburne Centre?
The home of the Essendon District Football League. Back in the middle. 2-8 to 2 behinds.
Just make sure you wear the black shorts then. The home team.
I think it's the red shorts actually in the EDFL Interleague kit. Back live. Bouncing ball here at half forward. Richmond looking for a third perhaps, but getting back was Blair. Hand pass off. The kick from Lang. Markov with the intercept mark again. That's 2 intercept marks for Oleg Markov on both wings in the last couple minutes. Dancing with trouble here, but finally gets away up towards half forward. Chol was never a chance with that one, and an easy mark in the end for Callum Searle, who tells his teammates to slow the tempo down. Might have played on outside the boundary line there. Lang collides with Brewer. Free kick advantage paid. No advantage, is coming back. Lang to take the free kick on centre wing here for the Borough.
That was an interesting one. The advantage was certainly on, and then when the disposal didn't look the best, the umpire stopped the play.
Looking for their first goal of the afternoon, Port Melbourne, as Lang lobs one towards half forward. Lyle had 2 Tigers to deal with, tried to soccer it. That doesn't work out, but it's coming back in. Hooper takes the mark, about 75 out.
Yep, and now options are a bit sparse. There's a short one. That's going to be ignored. The kick inside 50. Oh, that's fortuitous. Gee, coming through there, Campbell Walker. He was about 3 back of the ball, just fell into his arms. He'll line up directly in front, 50 outs.
He certainly wasn't the target on that occasion.
No. No, he's about your 4th sort of choice.
But But you would have noticed, though, Port Melbourne were looking to put that ball into the corridor, and I think they've identified that Richmond aren't covering that part of the ground quick enough.
As the kick comes in, Walker from 50 right to the line. Haratuku flies. Garthwaite there just to punch the ball over for another behind of the Borough. 3 behinds, 2-8-20 Richmond. 11 gone in this second quarter.
Igmalesi Smith to bring this one back in for the Tigers. Goes with the left foot toward the punt road side of the ground. No mark taken by Coleman Jones. Turnover. And the Borough get it back. Lyle, that's a good mark in front of Miller.
Really strong out in front, and that's what Haratuku needs to start doing, getting out in front and presenting rather than playing from behind. And Jordan Lyle is a great kick of the football. Give him every chance from here.
Is this the one Port Melbourne converts? Tucked up against the fence, right by Richmond Station. Jordan Lyle makes his approach. The right football's on the way. Looks like it's going to land across the face. It does. Soldo makes sure of it. 4 behinds Port Melbourne. 2 goals, 8. Richmond, 12 minutes, second term. Hard Yakka totally workwear VFL Live.
Leslie Smith short to Garthwaite in the back pockets. Looks up. He's got Ballard as the long option. Will need to be good here. Had a couple of Borough players to beat. Couldn't do so. Ball swills free though. Ball picked up. Turn it to Collier Dawkins. Player in trouble. No call from the umpire. It was Greer who was held up with the footy. But it's going to be a free kick go the way of the Borough now. It's Thomas O'Sullivan, number 43. Was it Tom O'Sullivan, the captain?
Not sure he's got the distance from there, Pete. He might set this up top of the goal square.
Tall timber gets back for both teams from 51. It's not going to be a goal. It's not going to make the distance. Soldo takes the mark.
Really poor choice there. Gave his forwards no chance with a deep kick. He didn't have the penetration to kick the distance there.
Soldo.
Kick top of the goal square.
In defensive goal square to Igmalesi Smith, who kicks a long ball looking for Chol. Waddell did well just to get the arm in there, just to cause the contest. There's a push out. And it's a free kick going the Borough's way again. Chol just a little bit too crude. We'll do it all over again. Bit of deja vu. As Thomas O'Sullivan has it again. Slightly further out this time. Definitely not going to make the distance. So he wants to work into the pocket. Lyle came out to meet the footy. Got a couple of Tigers to beat. Worked it around Templeton. Around the body from 50. It's a high ball. Won't grab not the second. Ball on the deck. No one can pick it up. Templeton again. Did well to shrug the tackle. Managed to get the handball away. But Cracker was pushed off the footy and Butler can go for a run. Here he goes. The handball across. They've got the numbers here. The Tigers on centre wing. Butler's got it again. His kick on the outside of the boot. Clever.
Great kick.
Oh, that is a superb kick. That was excellent. And as we could hear in the crowd, great pass down. It certainly was. Jake Art's on the end of it. He'll light up and have a shot. 40 outs. That's just great vision, great awareness, a great skill.
Did everything, really. He took it from half back, took it in a contest, took it at speed, and to move that footy off the side of the boot the way he did there to find the only Richmond player forward was fantastic.
Jake Arts kicks the goal. And they are away now. 3-8-26 plays 4 behinds, 14.5 gone in the second quarter. Hard Yakka totally workwear VFL Live today. Boy, I'll tell you what, I reckon the Richmond folks here, I reckon that'll make it onto a highlight reel. That was just superb play from the Tigers. I'm really pleased to see Jake Arts getting opportunity on the rookie list as well. Been following his career for a number of years now here on VFL Live. It's great to see the progression. Another player too, Hilly, we should talk about, Marty Hall, who we've been following obviously on Collingwood's VFL list, now playing for Melbourne, getting an opportunity. Yes,
we were pretty confident come the end of last season that he would get a chance at AFL level, and he's doing really well so far in his first couple of games for the D's.
Brett Bewley, another one. As the clearance goes Port Melbourne's way, we're inside 50. Haratuku up against Beasley. No mark was taken.
Notice Lockie Schultz, another one. And I'm really pleased this season, Hilly. We won't need to keep asking ourselves the question each week is, why isn't Michael Gibbons on an AFL list? Because it's finally been answered.
It's finally happened, and he's already got a few games under his belt, and he's bit by bit acclimatising to AFL level.
It's nearly farcical that it took that long. Inside the centre square, another stoppage.
It really is such a great breeding ground at the moment for the AFL list. So I think 6 or 7 players got drafted and a few more rookies. So
of course, going the other way, Michael Barlow's now gone full circle back at Werribee. We'll see him in action next week against Essendon. Right here on VFL Live, ball up.
Well,
no, I don't think it's Essendon actually. It's Geelong.
Geelong.
Essendon's playing in the prior game against North Melbourne.
It's it's an interesting one, and also the mid-season draft potential as well too. We'll keep an eye on this year.
That's a wild card. Port Melbourne player down behind play here. Keep an eye on that Hilly, although he might be up now. It's Tom O'Sullivan.
It's Tom O'Sullivan. Just might have copped a knock to the head. Just keep an eye on that. Not sure if
he's had a few
he
of
might
those
have a blood rule or
over the years. Tom O'Sullivan.
Just a knock.
I think he's okay. Richmond ball.
You can ask him at half time.
English has
Will do.
Inboard for his captain Morris, who won the toss and chose to kick toward the Richmond Station end of the grounds pre-game. 3-8 to 4 behinds, 3 minutes away from time on in this second term. It was a very short first term, only 22.5 minutes at Wentz as Richmond played a short game here. Collier Dawkins, is he thinking about a shot? No, maybe. Does throw it onto the boot. It's not going to register a score. It's going to land in the pocket. Guru might have been Falcons out the back, clearing ball by Pendlebury. Dangerous kick this one. Miller puts up the mitts and brings it down. And he can think about a shot.
It's interesting, mixed messages going on there. Coleman Jones is saying go for goal. English is go kick it to me. About 15 metres away.
He was getting about 4 different messages
yeah,
there.
I know, there were 4 different. Just choose your own adventure.
Miller's kick from just inside 50. Right foot's on the way and it looks perfect. It is. 4 goals, 8-32 Richmond. Port Melbourne 4 behinds. 18 minutes gone in this second term and it's looking good for the hosts.
So he picked the right option then in the end. Didn't really need any sort of advice. I think he had enough confidence in himself to be able to go back and do it.
Yeah, he's a pretty reasonable kick of the football and certainly a long kick of the footy. So anytime you're a long kick of the footy and kicking from 45 and beyond, I think you're better off backing yourself in.
21 inside 50s to 16 now in favour of the Tigers. Might get some individual stats, Adam, in just a moment. As we head towards the 19-minute mark of this second quarter. Danger signs now for the Borough. And there's Goodwin going to work with Coleman Jones of Richmond now into the ruck as the ball spills free. English managed to get the handball out. The kick from Turner. It's a good ball. It's right into the path here of Thompson, who's got time to steady. 55 from goal. He goes with a high ball. As Moore was caught at the back. Chol picks it up, trying to get around one. Can't get around the second. It was ambitious, to say the least, but he took it on. And Searle will come up with the free kick. Last line of defence for Port Melbourne. Looking to go on the broadcast side, then decides better of it. Kicks to Jolly. Barely the 15. This one a little bit longer. As Joby kicks outside the 50. They're going to build up nicely here, the Borough. Kick going up the line. Gasper takes it. Looks around. The inboard kick is going to be turned over, I would think.
Great
yeah,
tackle.
again there. Arts, he was brought down by Goodwin. And the ball has been thrown out, so it'll be a Goodwin free kick. Into the square on centre wing. The players running alongside. The kick is going to go short and find Jolly again.
12th disposal coming up, letting disposal get her on the ground, Jolly.
See, there's a surprise. As Templeton picks it up, he's going to get 50 metres. He's going to get a 50-metre penalty. He was outside, just outside his range, and now he's well within it. As this 50 metres will take him right to the top of the goal square, I would think.
Surely.
Won't miss from there.
Surely.
Okay, now that you've said it, there's still pressure on this kick now that we said there's no chance of him missing. He kicks the goal though. Finally, they've got a goal on the board. Port Melbourne 1-4-10 trailing Richmond 4-8-32. 21 gone in this second quarter. You can totally work with VFL Live today. The Swinburne Centre.
They have a
Punt Road Oval.
Great following here today. The Port Melbourne supporters, obviously, the Port Melbourne ground still getting worked on, so not going to see footy there just yet.
Tell me about Tom O'Sullivan, the captain right in front of you, just doing a walkthrough.
Yeah, he's just going through Robin Nahas. Robin Nahas, assistant coach here on the boundary line, and giving him some instructions on how he'd like to see things unfold, particularly at half forward.
Familiar surrounds for him. Jake Hart sneaking back out onto the ground as well. Now 6-6-6, oh no, he's going to go into the middle here. He's going to go into the middle. And he doesn't go into the square in time. So this is a 6-6-6 breach by the Tigers and a free kick to Porter. So they must have already had the warning.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they have.
In this quarter.
High inside 50. 2 in a minute perhaps for Port Melbourne. It falls to Pearson. The left foot snap is missing. 1-5-11 play, 4-8-32. So Jake Hartz looks like he was coming off and got told by the bench to go back out onto the ground. That caused confusion because the Tigers only had 3 in the centre bounce and they breached the 6-6-6 rule as a result.
Yep, so the ball coming outside the 50 and the mark's being taken by Thompson. He looks to go over the top, but it's going to be cut off again. So the Borough have had the better of the last 10 or so minutes. So Woofenden kicking the ball inside the 50. He'll beat the initial pack. I think Malesi Smith picked it up, then lost it. Then he was hatching the footy, managed to release it. Narkov, he was brought down the tackle, and the umpire says, give it to me. We'll throw it up deep into attack for Port Melbourne.
We should see a little longer quarter this quarter too, with 5 goals kicked.
You would think so, as Morris, he was taken off the footy. Free kick advantage, Silvestro picked it up for the Tigers. It's not going to be to advantage though, it's going to come straight back again. Pendlebury just works the ball back. They're going to take their time here, the Borough, as they build again. Hooper with it, inside the centre square. 23 minutes gone in the second quarter.
Setting up space for Jordan Lyle at half forward.
There's the kick. Going across the ground, trying to go one-handed there. Walker was all he could do, and he had the footy taken off him. Now the Tigers with another opportunity here. There's Baltus, managed to get the handball away, worked it across to Nash. They go into the middle of the ground, and now Markov to run onto it. Lost his footing temporarily, and then the kick was smothered. And now a chance here for the Borough. They've got him on the overlap. Gaspar gets to 50, closed down by Morris. Great tackle. Oh, it was a desperate effort. Look at them all get to him as well. He'll take the free kick because, boy, if he wasn't there, that would have been a certain goal you would have thought for the Borough.
Sensational closing speed from Morris there.
The captain leading by example. Silvestro gets it over the top. 24 minutes in, already a longer quarter than we had in the first. Back to Morris. Now this is the instruction. I actually saw Craig McRae telling his runner to get the message out to slow the tempo down as soon as Morris won that free kick. With no other options, he does go long eventually. The only man that went up for it in the end was Paddy Vespremi. Slipped as he wanted to kick. It's not play on yet, now it is. The right foot ball from Paddy Ves towards half forward.
Great vision.
Takes the mark, quick hand pass off. Borough go inside 50. Jared Blair, double fister there. Bouncing ball picked up by Gasper, looking for a handball. Now Blair to snap, empty square. Caulfield, very kind bounce for Richmond. Caulfield gets the hand pass. They're out of danger as long as it hits the target, and it does. Charlie Thompson on the outer side.
Yep, and he'll go up the line. Dangerous over the head there of Ballard. Picked up Waddell. Just handballed in the player in front of him. It was Ballard again. Here's Butler. Butler looking to go the handball over the top. Not a good option as Woofenden picked it up, and now they've got him on the overlap here again. Jolly on centre wing for Port Melbourne. The kick though is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It's been turned over. Caulfield will work it into the middle of the ground. What can the Tigers do this time as they work it out? Oh, that was a good fist forward there by Nash, but it's going to be turned over again as Blair has it for the Borough. And the kick finds Blake Pearson, who's nowhere near having a shot for goal. Though having said that, this ball is dribbling through. He did actually have a shot for it. It's not going to go anywhere near though. And that is half time.
quick game?
The game did go up a gear. It is a good one here at the Swinburne Centre at
Thank-
Punt Road Oval. Go.
Sorry to cut in, Pete. Thanks, Tommy, for joining us at half-time. Look, it was a really tough battle in that first half. I know you haven't got the score on the board, but there seemed to be a little bit of momentum there.
Yeah, we're just breaking down around half floor, I reckon. We're rebounding all right, and then it's just that last ball going a bit shallow, not getting it in deep to the big boys.
Your defenders have done a great job in closing. I know, obviously, you're down on the scoreboard, but to only give up 4 goals with the entries that had gone in there, I thought it was a really good effort.
Yeah, no, as I said, they're defending really well, and they're actually rebounding all right. If we can win the ball around the contest a bit more and take a bit of pressure off them, that might help them as well.
No worries. Thanks for your time at half-time.
Tom O'Sullivan, the captain of the Borough, as they make their way off the ground. Richmond 4-8-32, Port Melbourne 1-5-11. The goal kickers to half-time. They're all second quarter goals. Moore, Arts, Miller and Fletcher for Richmond. And for Port Melbourne, Eli Templeton with the solitary goal for the Borough. It is only a 21-point margin when you consider that one of the teams has only kicked 1 goal. It makes it a tight contest. As we have a look at some of the stats to half-time, Adam Sarakoglu.
Looking at the Tigers first, 9 disposals each for Paddy Naish and Dan Butler. Butler also has 3 tackles. Both players have 2 behinds to their name. English has 8, as well as Fraser Turner. Derek Egg-Melessi Smith has 7. And it's Markov, Moore, Ballard and Morris all with 6 as we go to the Port Melbourne side of the equation. Ben Jolley has 12 disposals, leading disposal getter on the ground with 8 kicks, 4 handballs, 5 marks, 4 tackles. A solid, even a hit out for Ben Jolley. That's how good he is. Giobbi has 10 for Port Melbourne. Lang and Templeton have 9 each, and Hooper and Searle have 8. There's some of the individual stats in this game so far. Some team stats coming up, Peter.
Yeah, we're going to look at some of the team stats. I think that's important, particularly the inside 50s in that quarter, because I think they even themselves out again. And it is, at the moment, 22 inside 50s to 20. So they're getting plenty of opportunity, the Borough. They're just not able to capitalise. And the rebound 50s pretty even. 16-5, though, in hit-outs to half-time at the moment. And the Tigers leading the way on the kicks. Borough leading the way on handballs. 57 marks to 42 in favour of the Tigers. Arts, Fletcher, Miller and Moore, their goal kickers. And Eli Templeton, the solitary goal kicker, to half-time here at the Swinburne Centre. 4-8-32 Richmond, Port Melbourne 1-5-11. On the other side of this break, we'll be catching an interview from earlier in the week. The VFL show's back on 11:16 SEN throughout the week, 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Danny Union was their guest star from the Essendon VFL team. We'll be hearing from him on the other side of this break right here on Hard Yakka, Totally Workwear, VFL Live.
I'm a Digital Radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
Where you go?
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly, you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
Or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
1-2, Jamie Wicks up first. Craig Lowndes
And
second.
you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it, doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Half-time here at the Swinburne Centre at Punt Road, and it is Richmond 4-8-32, Port Melbourne 1-5-11. Peter Mercado, Adam Sarakoglu and Glenn Hill with you at this half-time break. As I mentioned, 11:16 SEN every Tuesday night from 9 o'clock. It is the VFL Hour, and Jack Heverin and Anthony Stans. Usually Jack Heverin, but it was Cam Luke this week. They caught up with Essendon's Danny Union and talked about the big win last week, the Bombers getting their season off to pretty good start, but then, of course, losing the momentum with the bye. They really thrashed Frankston, but they get a week off for their trouble with the bye in place. But they caught up with him and had a little bit of a chat about the week off and also about how the season's shaping up for 2019.
Danny, to welcome you in, congratulations on the start, but geez, my mentors went stopped by a bye in round 2.
Yeah, he's not wrong. And Cam, he's going.
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for joining us.
No dramas at all. Yeah, it was spoken about. It's a bit rough. I mean, you have a pretty solid pre-season like we did, and then be able to go out, shred our stuff, and then get faced with the bye. So, I mean, that's footy, I guess.
It is. What's your week been like? Obviously, results aside from last week, when you have one game in, and traditionally later in the year when you have a bye, it can be used as rest and recovery and look after yourself a little bit. But when you're so early into the year, it's looked upon and acted on a little bit different. What's this week been like for you having a bye so early?
Yeah, you're right. So if we were to have a mid-year bye, we'd probably more or less have the whole week off, just refresh, come back to the club ready to go for a good second half. But I guess we treat it like a normal week. So we do our normal Monday afternoon review, recover as we would. A few blokes would get back to local footy this week, and then there may be about 5 or 6 of us that'll train as per usual on the Wednesday, just to get the K's in the legs and keep up with the touch. And then we'll do a Saturday morning session as well. Again, just to keep those K's in the legs and get that continuity in the body.
Danny, welcome to the show. There wouldn't be too many weeks that we've looked back at the Essendon scorecard and the club's kicked 22 goals and we don't see D. Unan on the scorecard. Tell us a bit about your role on the weekend. DJ did let me know about that, so he's one to have a laugh. And a couple of years ago it probably would have affected me, but I guess when the team's flying like that, it's a good sight. So, I mean, not too much different in a role. Still played forward in the second half, but got moved into the midfield in the first half, which is a bit different for me, but it was a good experience. So, hopefully can try string a few games together up the ground and try to get another string to me, bow, which could help the team. Have you seen your game personally develop over the last few years playing at the Bombers?
I mean, I think when I first got to the club, probably struggled a little bit in terms of trying to find a niche into the side and try to develop a role. But I think had a good understanding with DJ and the coaches on a clear understanding of what my role is and how to be playing that in terms of structures and whatnot. So I guess having that clarity works both ways, and being able to put some good performances together as of the team as well. Playing in a good side, I guess, has helped my form grow.
Now, just off the text message, 043398 1116 for people to get involved. No name here, but you might know who this is. Anonymous says, does Danny, a couple of questions here, so we'll start with this one. Do you still have the AFL dream, or are you just happy at a VFL level? Do you still have the designs of going to the next level up?
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
I mean, I think everyone that plays VFL still has that burning sensation. You're playing your trade against these blokes week in, week out. So I think if you didn't have that in the back of your mind at some point, then you wouldn't say you're wasting your time, but you want to try and better yourself. So that's always in the back of the mind. I guess as you get older, you start to worry about work life as well a bit more. But I mean, that's always in the back of the mind to try and play AFL, I guess.
And it goes on to say, it says that this person sponsored you and he called you the great man at his local club, Bundura, of course, where you play and have been in the past. He's pleading for you to play for Bundura.
Peter Lewis.
There you go, Peter Lewis.
Lewis.
He didn't put his name on the text, but there you go. Are you playing for Bundura this weekend?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm not. So he's a great man, Peter Lewis. He's been a massive supporter for a number of years. So appreciate his support over the years.
You've just broken his heart. I will say that as well. Did you play in that Bundura won a premiership a couple of years ago? Were you a part of that?
I did, yeah. Yep. So I played in that. Ricky Dyson, who was the coach, back then. He's actually down at the footy club this year. So he's one of the assistant coaches. He's doing a defensive line. So yeah, I mean, I still have a good connection with the club. Know a few of the blokes there, and went and watched them on the weekend. So yeah, still have a good connection with the blokes down there.
We were talking off the top of the show about obviously the affiliation with AFL sides and how the VFL continues to get bigger and better each year. And Anthony, I know you told me, was it 18 players were drafted last year? 17 from the VFL. You've been around for a little while now at a couple of clubs and, of course, playing really well now for Essendon. But have you noticed the level of intensity and standard rise in the VFL in the last couple of years?
I have, yeah, definitely. You're not wrong at all. And there's no real surprise that players have been able to, transfer from VFL footy and then go on to the big stage and still, play some pretty good footy. And we've seen Nick Hind, who went last year from us, and I reckon once he gets his opportunity, he'll hit the ground running as well. So I think as the competition gets better, players just fit in real nicely into the AFL league. I think we're well equipped these days as well, and Ash Brown does a mountain of work behind the scenes in order to get the program up to scratch, so that if players do end up falling on an AFL list, then they're not swimming out of deep water. So I think it's the big credit that goes on behind the scenes in order to get the players up to scratch.
Danny, new leadership team this year down at the Bombers as well. You're part of it, but how did Aaron Heppel go in his first game as captain on the weekend?
Well, he didn't actually play on the weekend.
Oh, there we go.
Just nursing a slight knee. So just thought it'd be having the bye this week. He thought, just give it another rest, so he'll be back round 3. So it's a bit shattered because he didn't get to run out and captain the side, but I guess he'll be doing that against North.
Who got the role?
I did.
Oh,
so, yeah,
there we go.
Between me and Buddha are vice captain. So I took chocolates on the weekend, but I mean. It doesn't matter who runs out, I guess. Between me and Buddha, we got Kurt Aylett as well, who's in the leadership group who played on the weekend. I guess we all play a role.
Hey, of course, round 3. Who have you got?
North Melbourne.
Okay.
On the Saturday.
So, yet again, around the bye, traditionally you don't look at them until after the week previous when you're about to play them, but have you had a little look at North Melbourne even though they've still got a game between now and then, or do you wait until traditionally you do it on a Monday and just keep it as regular?
No, I guess yeah. I think the coaching staff will have a look at them probably if they play on the weekend to see how they're tracking and look at their pre-season form as well. But I guess yeah, we'll probably do a preview of them on the Friday leading into the game. Probably don't look into it too much during the week. We'll look at the way they play and then go into the game fully equipped, ready to go. And hit the ground running, I guess.
Beautifully. Hey, what do you do away from footy? What do you do for a job?
So I run a pest control and termite business.
Oh.
Just a small business, and we work pretty much all over Melbourne. So, yeah, it's called Amazon Pest Exterminator. So if you need any pest control done, give us a call.
So anything, even those pesky small defenders who you've been having to deal with in recent times as well, I assume you could probably try and get rid of one of them or two in the off week.
Yeah, carry a little pump spray on the field sometimes and give a little squirt.
How much? So you run? It's your business?
Yeah.
So just on that, and we talk, and when we have people on the show who obviously, whatever it might be, at a young age, doing an apprenticeship or whatever, and traditionally most of their employees and employers are actually quite welcoming and allowing them some time off to play footy and all the rest of it. How much easier does it make it when you run your own business, when you know you need to get the training and allow yourself a bit of flexibility?
Yeah, in that aspect, it does. It does because you can sort of schedule in times and whatnot, and then go about your business that way. There's pros and cons to it, but it does. Help a massive heap, especially especially pre-season too. That's probably our busiest time. But the clubs
been pretty good to me in terms of giving me some time off when I do need it. But I guess, especially with the VFL program, you're training 3 times a week, so to have that flexibility, and it does go a long way.
There he is, Daniel Union talking with Cam Luke and Anthony Stangetz, the VFL Hour on 11:16 SEN on a Tuesday night from 9 o'clock, and a whole range of different interviews across the competition. The Swiss Wellness VFL Women's competition coming up in a few weeks' time as well. We'll have a number of double headers as a part of our coverage throughout the season here on the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. It's Richmond 4-8-32 at half-time. Port Melbourne 1-5-11. The umpires are back out on the ground, and the players not too far away. We'll take another break and we'll be back, and we'll get stuck into the second half action right here on VFL Live.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
There you go.
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly, you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
1-2, Jamie Wickup first. Craig Lowndes
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
There you go.
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly, you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Looks to be the last game of the first set. Almagro leading 5-3.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
4-8-32 Richmond, Port Melbourne 1-5-11 here at the Swinburne Centre at Punt Road Oval. Getting ready for the second half and looking forward to it should be an interesting second half of football coming up. And plenty of other games to come as round 2 continues in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. We've got Casey and North Melbourne from 2 o'clock at Casey Fields. Werribee and Coburg tonight from 7 o'clock. The Bounds at Avalon Airport Oval. Sandringham and Box Hill. That's tomorrow. The curtain raiser at Marvel Stadium. GMHBA Stadium will host Geelong and the Northern Blues. And Frankston taking on Williamstown. That's a 2 o'clock bounce tomorrow down at Frankston. Essendon having the bye as the two teams getting into their huddles before we get a start in this second half. Hilly, down to you. The ground condition, nothing's changed much. It's a beautiful day for football.
It is a beautiful day, but we might have a serious injury actually that occurred late in that second quarter with Jake Gasper. It looks like he may have a break in his arm. He He's currently icing it up on the sideline. Certainly won't be back in action. But he'll be off to get scanned shortly.
Shame, really, because he's been a great player. He was a great player in that opening half.
Oh, he certainly was. He's attacking the football and looking really comfortable at this level. So really disappointing for him.
Okay, well, players coming to the bench for both teams, and as I pointed out, only 4 running to the bench now for Port Melbourne. Ben Jolly leading those. Cracker there as well. Also, Joby and Dion Johnston making his way to the interchange bench. So we're not too far away from a start in this second half. 4-8-32 Richmond. Port Melbourne 1-5-11. It was the Tigers by 4 points. No one kicked a goal in the opening quarter. And now the margin sits at 21. As we get into the 6-6-6. Everyone looking to be in place. Just takes a little bit of time, extra time to get everyone settled. And the umpire should hold the ball aloft, and we'll get this second half underway. So now we'll have the ball held aloft. Right, let's get it underway. 4-8-32 plays 1-5-11, third quarter action on VFL Live.
It's Richmond by 21 points at the Swinburne Centre. Bounce, a good one. Soldo with the jump. Won the tap down. Ballard has it, but a free kick going the Tigers' way. High contact on Collier Dawkins. In the middle of the ground, the quick hand pass off, and the high ball now inside 50 for the Tigers. English is underneath. There's 3 Borough defenders to deal with, though. Searle quickly got it, but tackled as soon as he did get it, and coughed up the ball in the end. Thompson brought down by Van Noonan. Boundary throw in front of the main part of the Swinburne Centre. Healy, what did you see?
Certainly would have thought that would have been deliberate. He handballed it on the full, out of bounds, with no Richmond player in sight. So I think the umpire missed one there.
Ball tossed back in. Goodwin working here. Soldo got around the traffic. He was 360. Little kick inside the 50 from Turner. Puts it inside the 50 now. A chance. Again, sort of a little outside the boot job from Naish, heading towards the boundary line. Still kept in, but plenty of players over the top, and the umpire will throw the ball up. As he gets to their feet, Shoulder do the ruck work with Goodwin. And as we're right near the boundary line, it does go over. Right near Richmond Station. Open for business on this side for Essendon and Brisbane Lions fan at the MCG. It's Goodwin, front position. Ball tapped to ground. It spills free. Silvestro just paddling it forward. Doing well. Pendlebury held off the contest. Hart's in there as well. He's held up, and the umpire will throw the ball up. Deep into attack here for the Tigers as ball goes up. Goodwin had it all to himself in the end. Now a clearing kick outside the 50. Lyle, long way up the ground. Doing well in the contest, though, was Miller, just to drag it to the turf. It eventually spills free. Blair just pushed off the footy. Now has to go back in, lay the tackle. A little bit untidy. The umpire will come in and throw the ball up. We've gone 2 minutes in this third quarter. 32 plays 11 on VFL Live.
Forward of the wing here for Richmond. Goodwin, tap down, misses Templeton. It was picked up by Turner. The high ball towards half forward. Butler dropped it. Free kick, Port Melbourne. An advantage is paid. As we go towards the wing on the outer side, Jordan Lyle takes the mark. Haratuku on the lead in front of Garthwaite. Lyle holds on to the ball though.
Good Shaq, good cover up there.
Right foot.
Hold there, Shaq.
Hear the encouragement coming from the Port Melbourne bench. We're inside 50. No mark was taken. This is Morris. Right foot over the top. Tried to pick out Soldo. It wasn't a great kick. It's out of bounds on the full. It would have been a mark to Jordan Lyle anyway. He goes inboard. So Templeton. Port Melbourne looking for just their second goal of the day. Find themselves down by 21 points in a low-scoring affair. Templeton pokes one towards the pocket. A nice pass for Jared Blair.
A very settled forward line set up, Hilly. You've got Lyle can drift up towards half forward, and you've got guys like Karatuku as a tall timber, but then Jared Blair is a smaller option.
Yeah, Jared Blair should be looking inboards here. That's a tough kick from that corner.
The right foot ball's going to land at the top of the square. Goodwin put up the mitts, might have been pushed. No mark was taken. Moore's done it at both ends today. Hand pass coughed it up, and Pearson kicks the goal with the right foot snap. The ideal start to the second half for Port Melbourne, 2-5-17, playing 4-8-32 on VFL Live. Just about 4 minutes ticked by third term.
Well, the worst of possible turnovers in the worst of possible spots and the worst of possible results for the Tigers.
It certainly was, but it's been coming. Port Melbourne have certainly turned the tide a little bit late in that second quarter, and you can just feel a little bit of momentum behind them at the moment. And if they can get on top in the midfield, there's still a chance in this match.
So 32 plays 17. That's the first score for the quarter, and we're gone 4.5 minutes. We did have a very short opening quarter. As the umpire gets back into position, has a look. Now it takes a little bit of extra time with the 666 to make sure everyone's locked into the right position. And the bounce is going to go outside the circles. No, play on, said the umpire. Boy, I thought that was outside the circles. It favoured the Borough in the end as Hooper kicks the ball inside the 50. Her dribbling footy. Chance here for O'Sullivan. The other one, Thomas O'Sullivan, picked up. Hooper's come forward again. Little handball over the top. Now Woofenden has his kick smothered inside 50. Again, the ball spills free. Cigarello picking it up again for the Borough. He's been involved in the contest. The kick short is good, and Lyle takes the mark.
Pearson free, top of the goal square. Doesn't seem, but
not going to be an option, I wouldn't have thought, when you've got the skipper having a shot at goal. It is tight on the boundary line.
And he is such a great kick.
Oh, he goes short anyway and finds Templeton. Ballard was just trailing behind. Much better angle. Still a tricky kick, but makeable for Eli Templeton.
I'd say he's 50-50 from here, Eli.
I'm going to back him in. No breeze to speak of. He'll be kicking from 45 out. Ballard stands the mark. Templeton. He's going to push it across the face. It hasn't made it? Yes, it has. It's gone through for a behind. 2-6-18. Plays 4-8-32. We've got the Tigers leading. 6 gone third quarter.
Egg Leslie Smith here. Hilly.
Sorry, mate.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Eli Templeton's not a deep kick of the football, and again, he was only coming off a few steps as well, and I just think that's something that Port Melbourne can work on at training during the week, that they need a bit more momentum through their kick.
They've cleared 50, and Miller takes a good mark. In fact, that's Coleman Jones. His hand pass, though, was an interesting one, to say the least. It all works out in the end. Fletcher, handball into traffic again. Bit sloppy by hand of the Tigers, and not for the first time today. Brewer's out the back here, does well to get his hand pass out. Turner's got space for inside 50. Moore got rid of his man. Can't take the mark, though. Burrow at the fall, had a couple of options there. Kick from Waddell was interesting, to say the least. Caulfield's out the back. Right foot's on the way. Coast to coast goal for the Tigers. 5-8-38 to 2-6-18. 20-point lead for Richmond. 7 gone, third term, round 2 action. Was it Hardyacker, totally workwear, VFL Live, here's Glenn Hill.
Was it Waddell that had that kick then just across half-back?
It might not have been, actually.
Oh, well, whoever it was for Port Melbourne, it's just such a risky kick. It had to hit the target and was short, and that's the only reason they got scored on there. Just a little bit more composure, which they have shown throughout the match, but on that occasion they didn't, and a turnover's cost them a goal. And it's sort of been a game of turnovers, whether it's been in the midfield or whether it's been across half-back, but yeah, really disappointing there from Port Melbourne on that occasion.
Reasonable crowd in at the Swinburne Centre today, considering Richmond not playing over the road this afternoon, playing interstate.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of support for Richmond and Port Melbourne, and I see a few Brisbane and Essendon supporters filtering in as well.
Which is great to see. Now the ball from the contest. Wes Premier can go through the middle of the ground. He has a run, long ball. Haratuku's got 2 to beat. Ball spills. Morris comes in, try and make a nuisance of himself. He coughs up the footy. Now a chance again for the Borough as Thomas O'Sullivan throws it onto the boot. It's a high ball, Markov on the very last line of defence. Did well to take the mark. right on the goal line. He goes for a run, kicks to the broadcast side. Scholl flew far too early. The ball goes overhead. No free kick, said the umpire. Searle's going to be worried off the footy. Good movement here for the Tigers. Thompson got it across to Boltis. He was dealt with after he got the kick away. Should this be advantage? It is. Moore, he kicks right up to the top of the goal square. Is this going to bounce through? Butler get there? No! Oh, he needed to kick it to Dan Butler. It went through for a behind. Butler was all on his own. 5-9-39 plays 2-6-18. 9 gone in the third quarter.
Van Noonan picks out Searle. He's quick to get it to Waddell. So Port Melbourne quickly get it out of D50. Waddell's kick looking for Lyle. Good mark in front of Morris. Good build up so far here for Port Melbourne. Find themselves down by 21 points as they did at half time. Went the handball to Lang for some reason.
Why?
That's a boundary throwing.
Why?
You had a good look at that one, Healy.
Yeah, just the wrong option there from Geordie.
It wasn't.
Handball wasn't on.
Dragged himself as well.
The long kick probably wasn't on either, but it was going to be a better option.
Yeah.
Throw in, Goodwin to take on Soldo in the ruck. Goodwin in the better position. Couldn't quite win it down to Jolly. Lang emerges with the ball though for Port Melbourne. High ball inside 50. Almost a mark taken there by Walker. Picked up by Pearson. He's done it again. Blake Pearson kicks another one.
He's starting to look very, very dangerous. Pearson, and they need to lock down on him. He's looking like Port Melbourne's most dangerous player in the forward half at the moment.
So the number of shots on goal, that's his second goal of this third term, and the margin's back to 15 points here at the Swinburne Centre. 3-6-24 Port Melbourne. Richmond 5-9-39, 10 gone, third term.
We got ourselves a ball game here.
And the sprint's on for everybody to get into position.
And it's also the awareness too. Okay, where am I standing? How many players are in this zone? Where are we setting up? Just that little bit extra, and it is taking a little bit of time, as we've seen. Richmond with a warning and then a free kick against for getting that right.
I think it's working though. I do like the rule.
Oh yeah, in terms of the way it's spreading the play, it's fantastic. Ball back in the middle. Scholl to work with Goodwin. Goodwin weighted down, picked up the footy. Cholg then grabbed him. Quick kick. Going nowhere from Brewer. It's still in dispute in the middle of the ground. Now the handball comes out. Markov going the outside of the boot into the path of Butler. He's on centre wing. His kick's going to be a little short one to Chol. He's got a 55 from goal. He looks around, assesses his options. His kick over the top. English on his own. Luke English had so much space.
Really, really good kick from Chol. He weighed up his options there. I think in the past he would have been thinking I can get home from here, but he certainly lowered the eyes there and found the free player.
And he will line up and have a shot. We've got plenty of goal face to look at here. He'll only be 25 metres out when he releases the footy. Told just to get back onto the angle.
And for professional footballers, this one should be a piece of cake.
You would think so. In he comes. Steps in, deliberate approach. Oh, he's missed. Oh, he's missed.
That's disappointing.
Going it out to the right. It was narrow. So, 5-10-40 plays 3-6-24. 12 gone third term. Adam Sarakoglu on VFL Live.
Thank you, Peter Mercado. Classic Moz there from Healy, by the way.
Yeah,
Lang.
again.
Hand pass inboard to Vez Premi. Throws it onto the right boot. Looking for Lyle, but all he did was pick out Caulfield. Middle of the Swinburne Centre. Looking for Butler. Coming very late. And taking the mark was Ryan Pendlebury. His left foot ball. Plenty of space here for Pearson, who's still unmanned. Inside 50. Haratuku. Garthwaite working back. Big Khan takes the mark. Hand pass toward the goal square. Goal for the Borough. Kicked by Dion Johnston. 4-6-30 to 5-10-40. 10-point ball game almost halfway into the third.
Good awareness from Haratuku there, Hilly, wasn't it? Saw the players running alongside.
Certainly was, and why not take that option and take the set shot jitters out of your hands and handball to a player running into goal.
And as we've seen in the AFL too, I mean, we're seeing how these clubs are adapting to the 6-6-6 and seeing the ones that have the greatest success of being able just to spread the field. We'll get a good gauge of it, I think, a couple of rounds in. in this VFL competition. And certainly the ball movement there from the Borough was great on the turnover. Certainly our mob doing okay with it too in the AFL circles, Hilly. Not a problem at all.
Certainly are.
How you feeling about today, gents?
Ball back in the middle. We'll come back to that.
Quietly confident.
As usual. Has the ball here with Ballard. He's held up. We'll have it thrown up.
Would you prefer to be under the lid today or out in the open?
First time in about 10 years that the Lions have played Essendon at the MCG. Ball tossed back up here in the middle of the ground. Lyle working across Tomo Sullivan. The ball hacked out. Cigarello, he coughed it straight up. Silvestro with the long ball inside the 50. Coming out to meet it is Searle. For the Borough, he's kicked short. Dangerously so.
Really good
worked out.
game, Cal Searle. Half back.
Just still inside 50. Pendlebury sort of the link player. Searle's got it again. His kick up the line's a good one. All on his own is Cracker. He can go for a run along centre wing. Decides to kick to a 2-on-1 against. And the ball's off hands. Picked up here by the Tigers. Beasley dragged to the turf. Picked up by Woofenden. He got his handball off. He sold his teammate a little bit short. And the umpire will come in and throw the ball up.
The Tigers just not looking goal side quick enough there. If that Port Melbourne handball was released, they're away.
Cigarello was the player caught at the bottom. Chol, handball across. Well, it's almost coughed up there from Baltas, the 23rd player. It's held up at half forward for the Tigers.
You just get the feeling here that Richmond have had a lot of chances, obviously, to put a larger score on the board. Hasn't happened. And Port Melbourne have just wrested away their stranglehold on the game.
They have, as the kick smothered here. Collier Dawkins still in dispute at half forward for the Tigers. And eventually spills free. Questionable handball there from Turner, but still managed to get away, but they've turned it over again. Wolfen, then they'll be tackled over the line. We'll have it thrown in. Art's there on his hammer. 40 plays 30, 10-point ball game midway through this third quarter on Peter Jackson VFL Live today. Swinburne Centre. Ball tossed back in. Scholl just pushed Lyle out of the way. He got it from the ruck contest and kicked inside the 50. Dangerous footy. Silvestro ran into the tackle. He's dragged to ground and the umpire says, give it to me.
Be interesting to see the tackling stats at three-quarter time, because it really does feel like Port Melbourne are laying a lot more tackles this quarter as opposed to the first half.
That ball's not coming out. Another stoppage. Signorello was wrapped up. Of course, Hilly, if your tackle numbers are up above the opposition's, it could well mean you're not getting as much of the ball.
But it also generally means that you're getting more opportunities.
Yeah. Art's tangled up with Pendlebury, and there is so much humanity around that ball at the moment that it's really hard to come out. Another stoppage. Halfway into the third term, a 10-point ball game. Lyle won it down. O'Sullivan under pressure. And another ball up. I believe it's the fourth in a row coming up.
You keep going. Come on, break open the play. Give us something.
Need those blokes out there in yellow and black and blue and red to do that for me, Pete. Here's Coleman Jones, overran the ball. It has come out. Jolly, very clever handball, and Port Melbourne get it out of D50 once more. Bit of ping pong up in the air. Finally, it comes down. Well picked up by the Borough. Here is Van Noonen. Signorello had to go back into the traffic, into the chaos. Walker's involved as well. Extracting it, Woofenden did well. Now trying to work his way through Signorello. Wrapped up in the tackle is Walker. It's an ugly passage, this. Ballard went in hard. Still, the ball spits out, and Richmond get the ball towards half forward, but Hooper's underneath this one for Port Melbourne. No mark was taken. Maybe a chance for Silvestro, although it just eluded him. Ball spits out once more. Arts takes a daring bounce. Over the top, trying to set up Coleman Jones does. Plays on the big man, Coleman Jones, the right foot to the top of the square. One-handed attempt at the mark. Chol at the fall, and a hard-working goal for the Tigers. 6:10:46 to 4:6:30, approaching time on third term.
Really good movement of the footy there from the Tigers, getting the ball deep. That was the thing there. They had to get it in quick, and they certainly did. Top of the goal square, good work. And Chol, who stayed out of the contest, quite smart to rove that and get a much-needed steadying goal for the Tigers.
So 46 plays 30, breathing space for the Tigers after Port Melbourne pressed for a lot of this quarter. Heading to the 19-minute mark. As we see players all in position. Umpires also allowing time for the runners to get off the ground too. As the ball back in the middle. Again, the chance for Richmond, but it's Goodwin who picks it up for the Borough. Goes a long high ball deep inside the 50. No one can pick it up cleanly. Haratuku managed to get the handball out. Pushed off the kick was Walker, and the ball still goes up, but coming in, Eglesi Smith takes it. Got players alongside, works with Fletcher. They're still working in the back pocket here, the Tigers. Ball out in the Butler direction. Got the mark, did well. Just got rid of Giobi. A defensive 50. His handball over the top. Nicely done. Naish kicks up the line. Almost the mark there to Miller. Off his fingertips, couldn't take it. They take it off the footy. Again, Borough come up with a Pendlebury. Handball out, looking for Lang. Finds him on centre wing. Evades the tackle. And now kicks up towards half forward. Dangerous near the line. Garth Wade will either be a mark or free kick.
He
juggled it over the line.
Yeah, it was juggled. Very good boundary umpiring there.
The boundary umpire came flying in from near our commentary position and was right on the spot. So it will be a throw-in. Half forward here for the Borough. Ball tossed back in. 46 plays 30. Richmond leading. A low throw in. Goodwin almost on hands and knees to pick it up. Lang. What was that? A push. It's going to be advantage paid. Here's Jolly. Inside 50. Oh, lace out. Khan Haratuku takes the mark. It was.
It's up to 14 now, Ben Jolly. Fraser Turner leading disposal getter on the ground was 60.
Reckon there would have been a fair celebration once the word got out that Ben Jolly had moved from Williamstown to Port Melbourne, I would say, Hilly, and it's for things like that.
Certainly pleased to have him on board, the Port Melbourne players.
Haratuku off a couple of steps, misses. It looked like it.
I'd be more curious about what the reaction was at Point Jellybrand. Actually.
Yeah, it would have been disappointment, but I'm sure there's a good reason for the move.
Eglesi Smith, D-E-S, Des, if you like. Certainly easy to spit out than Eglesi Smith. Chol takes the mark. Kicked a nice goal a couple of minutes ago to restore a 15-point lead for the Tigers. Maybe a Chol, a very high ball. Moore's underneath it, only had one hand to work with. Morris fumbled, Blair, good pressure. Well picked up in the end by O'Sullivan. That was Tommy O'Sullivan to Jolly. And now Waddell. Just behind true centre wing for Port Melbourne. Broadcast side of the Swinburne Centre. And Mongrel towards half forward. It bounces away from Johnston. Out of play. Boundary throw in. Left half forward for Port.
Probably not the worst result there for Port Melbourne. If they can just get a stoppage here and a forward 50 entry and put Richmond under pressure again.
Time on, third term. Hard Yakka, Totally Workwear, VFL Live. Good to be here for a brand new season. Alongside Peter Mercado and Glenn Hill. As Pearson drops the mark. Still a chance though for the Borough. Hand pass over the top there from Signorello. Wasn't a great one. A bit of pressure there for Tommy O'Sullivan. Richmond are out here. Arts has some space. Takes two bounces, does Arts. He can take a third. Maybe even a fourth. He might have to, but the pressure's coming. Goodwin, has he gone too far?
High. Advantage paid.
Advantage, but I'm not sure it was a great advantage. Now Vez Premi comes away with it for Port Melbourne. His chipper in board is at 15. No, Hooper. He got brought down as soon as he got his kick away. Caulfield with the soccer. Might end up working out okay for Port Melbourne as long as Giobi's clean here. Chip over the top. Crackers under pressure. Did he have it though? Caulfield. Whistle's been put away. Eglesi Smith. Wormburner inside 50 for more. Couldn't take the mark. Wasn't a great kick anyway. Cracker. Now to clearing ball out from Pendlebury. Is that deliberate? Saw a similar one paid for deliberate earlier in the game. No, boundary throwing.
So 46 plays 31. 23 and a half gone in this third quarter. Big final quarter to come. Borough can get another goal here. It'll be a tight final term. Richmond would love another one just to keep that breathing space. Ball tossed back in. Soldo working with Goodwin. It goes to the back. Goodwin dumped in the tackle. Umpire will come in very quickly and intervene on that outer side.
He's done well, Tom Goodwin, up against Big Ivan Soldo. It's been a good contest between the two ruckmen throughout the match.
He takes that role as the premier ruckman, but knows he's got Waddell and also Haratuku who can make their way into the ruck. Here's Wolfenden who picks it up from the contest, finds Cracker. All on his own. Forward of centre, kick for Lang. Centre half forward. Looks up, he's got a number of short options here. The kick wasn't the greatest of all time. Play on, says the umpire. Johnson on hands and knees, lost a handle on the footy. It spills free. No one can get clean possession. Hacked out of the air by Lang. He goes across the face of the goal and puts it out of bounds on the full. Interesting decision.
Just didn't really give anybody a chance there with the execution of the kick off the ground, but I'm sure it's not something they practice on a regular basis.
So Garthwaite, the kick finds its way over the back of the initial pack. Giobbi is there. He's just created the decoy contest. It's advantage free kick going the way of the Borough. Handball here into the path of Blair. He goes a little underground and looking for Lyle, who fumbles. Then tackled by Morris. Back to Blair, just throws it on the boot, and coming in to take the defensive mark is Caulfield in the back pocket for the Tigers.
Sun trying to sneak through the clouds here at the moment. At the Swinburne Centre. It's been overcast for the entire game. It's stayed dry. No wind. Perfect day for round 2 footy. And the hard jacket totally workwear VFL. Chol underneath that one. Waddell in the right spot takes the mark for Port Melbourne. All happening on the punt road side of the ground. Blair, interesting jump at that ball. Getting back to apply the pressure. It was Riley Collier-Dawkins and forced a boundary throw in. Approaching three-quarter time, a 15-point lead here for the Tigers in a low-scoring game. 10 goals, 17 combined in this one. The Borough would love a late one. Blake Pearson has 2 in this third term. Tigers get the clearance. High ball. Coleman Jones went up, didn't bring it down. Chol does well, extracts the footy. Butler wide for English. The hand pass on. Coleman Jones from 50. Didn't want to shoot. Moore in the square and it finds him. Cal Moore takes the mark and he doesn't want to shoot. Goes in board. That's okay. Mark taken by James Fletcher.
Good awareness too by Moore. He was running towards the behind post. But knew he had some options in board. That's what he went to.
Smart footy there.
Sure was.
Tigers looking at a 21-point lead here. That was their lead at half-time. So Fletcher comes in. The left foot ball is good. And it's a 21-point ball game once more. 7-10-52 playing 4-7-31. Is that 2 goals for Fletcher now, is it, Peter?
It is.
Just can't talk over the roar there, but you just get the feeling that the Tigers have got their 2 goals sort of against the run of play, and Port Melbourne have dominated this quarter, and for the score now to reflect what it was at half-time, probably be a disappointment for Port Melbourne. They certainly should have been looking to go into three-quarter time within a goal or 2.
I think Tom Sullivan said it to you at half-time, Healy. They're breaking down at half-forward. Their entries inside 50 have been quite poor today, and I think that might be the difference in this game because Richmond are playing scintillating footy. They've been quite fumbly themselves.
Something just happened off the play here.
Now, where is it?
Free kicks to Tom O'Sullivan. He looked like he might have got a punch or a strike.
Now,
has there been a report?
There's been no report.
The umpires, there's a lot of finger pointing going on here. Where's it going to? Goodwin's racing over. He's
Yeah.
going to be the one to take the kick.
So now they're saying it's obviously an infringement in the 666.
Yep, so he can run on here. There's no one on the mark.
Wow.
So Goodwin kicks a long ball deep inside the 50. Haratuku got a couple to beat. Ball spilling free. Pearson is there in a dangerous position, just trying to dribble a kick forward. Miller handball over the top. Egamalesi Smith trying to find some space. He's thrown the back pocket and handballed across there to Beasley. He's dribbling. Kick goes back to Goodwin, who tried to get the kick away, and that is the siren for three-quarter time. So for all the graft that Port Melbourne showed in that quarter, it pretty much amounted to naught, because we're back where we were at half-time with a 21-point lead to Richmond. 7:10:52 plays 4:7:31. And that quarter going almost 29 minutes. We've had some short quarters today. Now the goal kickers to three-quarter time for Richmond. 2 to James Fletcher, singles to Moore, Arts, Chol, Miller and Caulfield. And for Port Melbourne, 2 goals to Blake Pearson, singles to Johnston and Eli Templeton. We might get some stats to three-quarter time, Adam, if we've got them updated via the new Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL app.
Which is honestly the star of the show today. This app is magnificent if you haven't downloaded it already. Fraser Turner, 17 disposals, leading the way for the Tigers Nation. He's up to 14. Butler has 12, as does Derek Egamalesi Smith. Can I just say Des? That's a very hard name to say, Peter. 11 for Caulfield as well. Among the two-digit disposal getters for the Tigers, Ben Jolly has 16 for Port Melbourne. Shannon Lang has 15, 14 for Hooper, 13 for Searle. Giobbi and Templeton both have 12, and Paddy Vest Premi and Walker have 10 each for Port Melbourne.
All right, so there you go. The stats to three-quarter time. The Tigers with the ascendancy. 7:10:52 to Port Melbourne. 4:7:31. A break. We'll hear from Gary Ayres out of the three-quarter time huddle, and then we'll be heading into the final quarter. Big final quarter to come. Stay with us on VFL Live.
But it's your job. We'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it, doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
I'm a digital radio.
And I'm a digital TV. Now, you may remember when TV went digital.
Yes, and you got a lot more channels and a better picture.
Well, buying a digital radio is the same.
Exactly. I've got up to 30 extra radio stations, plus all your old faves, and I sound amazing.
Yeah, but I look amazing.
Yeah, but this is a radio ad, so no one can see you.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to hear this station like you have never heard it before,
buy a digital radio.
Head into your nearest retailer and upgrade to digital.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Looks to be the last game of the first set. Almagro leading 5-3.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
And it is three-quarter time here at the Swinburne Centre at Punt Road Oval, and it is Richmond at 7:10:52, leading Port Melbourne 4:7:31. Really interesting quarter of football. It was Port Melbourne in the opening half of that quarter, but then Richmond pegging them back, and they take the lead that they had at half-time into three-quarter time. Just some of the other stats via the VFL app, which is sensational at the moment. Inside 50s, 34-32, and that's in favour of Richmond. And we look at the kick stats. Richmond leading that, more handballs for the Port Melbourne side. 21 tackles to 18, 72 marks to 64 in favour of Richmond there. 26 hit-outs too for the Tigers to 14, and as I mentioned, 34-32, the inside 50s here in this game, which is going to be an interesting one. The Tigers get the first goal. You think they're probably going to be in the box seat to run it out, but if Port Melbourne could sneak an early one, then they'll give themselves every chance to be able to get back into this contest. As Adam Sarakoglu rejoins me, Peter Mercado here. How do you think this final quarter is going to play out?
No advantage win-wise or anything like that. Port Melbourne just need to be a bit... Well, honestly, both sides need to be a bit cleaner, but Port Melbourne can't penetrate. We don't have this particular stat on us, but I'd be surprised if they've taken a mark inside 50 at all in a contested situation today. They cannot pick out anyone. They've had to work hard for their 4 goals so far. Pearson kicked 2, and they'll sort of just off the pack, roving type goals. I think snaps are over the shoulder in that third term there for Blake Pearson. They're half your goals there for Port Melbourne. A couple of shots on goal, but they're just struggling to actually get any kind of penetration, maybe forward of centre half forward. And Richmond, when they get out, have been playing really good football and linking up really well. But when it's in tight and through the middle of the ground, there's been a few passages where they've overhandballed, and we've seen fumbles. We've seen a fair few turnovers, both by hand and by foot from both sides as well. Richmond are just making better use of the space, and when they go inside 50, they've gone to Chol a lot today as well, but Cal Moore's looked good up forward as well as a marking option. I think that's a difference in this game at the moment. It's a bit sloppy through the middle of the ground, but once we go inside 50, Richmond seems to have space and have chances to score, and it is 17 scoring shots to 11, and Port Melbourne don't. I think that's the only difference in this game at the moment. It seems otherwise even.
Well, the Port Melbourne huddle, you can hear just breaking up, and Glenn Hill is going to hover around and see if he can get Gary Ayres. Just jump in over the top of us, Hilly, when you've got him.
Just see if I can grab Gary. We'll see how we go.
He's highly surprised if you don't.
He's got a bit on the plate here.
All right, well, we'll just see how it all comes together. A lot to talk about at that three-quarter time huddle.
Sorry to tap.
Jump in.
Hi, Pete. Yep, just joined by Gary Ayres, and you would have been pleased with that quarter. You sort of rested some momentum back, just didn't get it in the end on the scoreboard.
Yeah, we did, and I thought we probably did that a little bit late in the second quarter too. We didn't have a heap of inside 50s in the first half of the second, but I thought we did, as you said. But it's just that little bit of execution and poise, you know, with the ball, composure, as you call it, and then we can obviously hurt a Richmond side. But yeah, we haven't done the moment that's needed. We've been flustered and rushed, and then of course they've just capitalised.
The tackling pressure seemed to be up as well on the first half.
Yeah, look, I think our effort's been okay, and we've defended all right at times, but just when we've had a genuine chance to hurt them, we've obviously not been able to take that, so hopefully it'll turn around this last quarter.
Thanks for your time, Gary. Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
Beautifully done. Thank you, Hilly. Down there with Gary Ayres as teams getting back into position. The last of the spectators making their way off the grounds. Good to see too. A lot of families out here, a lot of kick-to-kick going on. So that's what this competition is all about. Great chance to get out on the ground, to listen to what the coaches have to say, but also to get out there and have a bit of a kick on the footy. A kick of the footy where the Tigers do all their training. 7:10:52 Richmond, Port Melbourne 4:7:31 as the last of the spectators make their way off the grounds. Interesting final quarter. This first goal is going to be so crucial. No breeze to speak of. Beautiful day with the sun out. Here we go. Final quarter action on VFL Live.
Goodwin and Soldo in the ruck as the umpire delivers yet another perfect bounce to get this final term underway. Butler pushed out of it there. And then the tackle came from Walker as another ball up. Walker's had 10 for the day. 6 tackles, now 7 tackles. Ballard. It's a kick towards half forward, but Port Melbourne got back there in numbers. And again, they're fumbling a little bit. Hooper's wrapped up. Another ball up.
Have noticed, particularly in the second half, a few players losing their footing around that outer side wing. So it might be just a little wetter over that outer side than what it is on this side of the ground.
Goodwin won it down in front of him, but O'Sullivan's going nowhere, and that's the skipper, Tom. Another stoppage. Slow start to this final term. 21-point ball game in favour of Richmond as we do go inside 50 here for the Tigers. Hooper worried out of it. Wrapped up his arts. Good tackle by Lang. Take it, Peter, because nothing's going on for me right now.
Ball to be thrown up on 50. Goodwin and Soldo going to work. English grabs it out of the ruck. His kick is smothered. Soldo trying to go back in again. Fumbles the first time. Now Goodwin gets him the second time. The ball will eventually be released through a high tackle on Jared Blair. And play on's the call. Templeton picks it up. His kick up the line. Well, Markov did well just to affect the spoil. on Walker, and the ball will go over the line. We'll have it thrown in. True centre wing position right near the Swinburne signs. 7:10:52 Richmond, Port Melbourne 4:7:31. Gone almost 2 minutes in this final quarter as the ball's tossed back in. Soldo working there with Goodwin. Collier Dawkins kicks around his body into the path of the other hyphenated name, Coleman Jones. Spilt it. It's over the line. We'll have it thrown in.
It's fair to say that Port Melbourne certainly can't concede the first goal of this quarter, given that they've only kicked 4 goals throughout the match.
Yeah,
they can't be chasing a big total.
Well, they need another 4 if they're going to win the game, and that's going to be unanswered. Cigarello back across to Lang. Now Templeton inside defensive 50, spins around and decides to kick up the line after all. Looks for Blair and finds him. He can go for a run, Jared Blair. He's not sure which way he wants to go. He leads Turner and Merry Dance and then runs out of room, holding the footy. Just no options up forward. And Arts to take the free kick. His kick across the ground finds Naish, who can run onto it. His kick is a good one. Coleman Jones, in fact, it's not Coleman Jones, it's Miller. Miller's kick. And he goes 20 metres to the 50, and the skipper, Morris, takes the mark. Now, is this within his range?
I'd say it would be if he takes his set routine.
There is absolutely no breeze at the moment, Hilly.
No, it's certainly still. So I would think he'd kick this distance. Not a problem.
I reckon he would do this at training more often than not. He's just going to pop it up. Morris to the top of the goal square. Off hands, English trying to get boot to ball. Soldo does, and he kicks the goal. English was dumped. Bit of push and shove going on. Goodwin not happy. Goal will stand. Soldo was there just trying to hack it off the ground. It went through. That little dust up clears up. And it's 8:10:58 playing 4:7:31. We've gone almost 4 minutes in this final quarter. So, important goal, that one, for the Tigers. And it makes the job very difficult now for Port Melbourne.
Fans starting to roll in out of Richmond Station on their way to the MCG, a game that yourself and Hilly are attending later on today, Peter. Back in the middle. The start it's been for the Brisbane Lions, mind you. Sort of circa 2002 sort of stuff from the Lions so far this year. That bounce just stays in the circles and it's allowed to continue. As Port Melbourne go towards half forward. Sorry, Richmond go towards half forward. A good mark taken there by Thompson. Now they're on the outskirts of 50. Miller kicking board for Ballard. Some tape around his nose. Ballard, he's setting himself up for a shot. Ben Jolly's on the mark just outside 50. Ballard winds himself up. He's going to send the ball to the top of the square. Brewer with the jump, and he takes the mark. He may well be the new igniter.
No,
he doesn't have the pace of
correct
of Anthony.
Correct. Although at the moment he does.
Certainly, yeah, he does.
Pardon the pun, though. He might have the spark.
He's actually a bigger player than you think. I have stood out next to him.
He looks well built.
Yeah, he's bigger than you think.
Oh, shanked the kick.
That's a horrible
Absolutely kick. Shanked it.
Igniter wouldn't have missed from there.
4-8-32 to 8-10.
No, he would not. He'd eat that up.
58. It's a 28-point ball game. 5.5 into the final term. Just looking through his numbers there. 181 centimetres and 82 kicks.
The kick going long. This has gone a long way. Caulfield picks it up. It's going to come straight back in. Thinking, no. Good work. Ballard had it, then he lost it. The handball over the top, and it formed in the hands of Markov away from Wolfenden. The kick going to Chol. Ominous signs now for the Borough. Chol looking to cut him board. He does see players inside. Silvestro is one of those. Got the handball away, but brought it back to Chol. We're on attacking 50 for the Tigers. Now Markov. A high ball going across the goal square. No mark taken. Working here Lang. Handball over the top. They've got some players. Lang received back from Jolly. Handball over the top. They exit the 50. Finds Cracker. Cracker continues along. Working hard here is Vez Premi. Been pretty good today, particularly in the opening quarter. Back to Cracker. He had his kick smothered on centre wing. Ball in dispute. Picked up there. Thompson was trying to go with it. Now they've got some players in space. The umpire says holding the footy though.
Waddell's down behind play here.
You keep an eye on that, Adam, because play continues. The kick across the ground over the head there of Searle. Oh, holding on Butler. Umpire didn't see it. They go back in again. Searle did well just to keep that ball alive. Pendlebury making a nuisance of himself. Now needs to pick up the footy in the middle of the ground. The handball's okay. There's Premi's got a player outside. It's Woofenden. He takes the mark. Wants to run off Joel. Did he go off his line? The umpire said no. On our broadcast side, the kick heading up towards 50. Lyle with the body work, but Garthwaite with the fist. And it's over the line. We'll have it thrown in 60 around from the Port Melbourne goal. 59 plays 31. Tigers leading Port Melbourne. 7 gone final term.
Waddell back up on his feet. All's okay. He works his way back toward the goal square. In front of Richmond's training facility, the David Mandy building. Chol trying to grab it out of the ruck, but overran it and the ball sailed over his head. Goodwin wasn't expecting it. He gets it now. Hand pass off to Signorello, and now it's in the hands of Eli Templeton, just outside 50. Sets it up to the hot spot. Port have a couple of marking options down there. Waddell, one of them. Igmalesi Smith did well, wins it back for the Tigers. The hand pass came out to Fletcher. Now the little pass. Butler has it. Right half back for the Tigers. Fletcher on centre wing. The left foot towards half forward. Arts was caught behind, but he worked his way to the ball and takes a nice mark.
It shows you the talent he's got. That's why Richmond rookied him.
I was going to say he's too far out to score, but perhaps not. Giobbi's on the mark just inside 50, and he is thinking about a shot. There's one goal for the day. So this will seal it, if it's not already sealed. It's 28 points before the kick. Jake Hartz, who was a VFL-listed player last year, now a part of the AFL setup. From just outside 50, kicks on the way. Not going to have the distance.
No, it's through for Bine.
Okay, I thought it might have been a mark there for a moment. It's a minor score in the end. Coleman Jones put up the mitts. Port out.
Well played.
Yeah, Pendlebury across to Searle, who just sold a bit of candy. The kick not the greatest, though, outside the 50. Beasley fumbled at the crucial moment. Ball in dispute. Silvestro trying to get it out. Goodwin at the bottom of the pack. The umpire should come in and does. They all pick themselves up.
Port Melbourne just looking like they have to move the ball fast here, and they look more dangerous when they move fast. So.
Yep, well, the tall targets are starved of action, the tall forwards, as Walker at the bottom of this pack's held up in the tackle. The Nash tackle, and the umpire will throw the ball up. Point of the square, attacking side for the Tigers. As we see the ball tossed back up now. Goodwin. Jolly going without it. Silvestro's in there again. Boy, did well. Brewer just hacks the ball up towards the 50. Pendlebury comes out to meet it for the Borough. They've got some run. Jolly in the middle of the ground. Oh, the tick for Cracker. He stumbled at the crucial moment, but he got Morris out of the way. Now he picked it back up again, Cracker. His kick inside the 50. O'Sullivan. Oh, well done, Caulfield for the Tigers. Handball across. Egamalesi Smith. He handballs over the top looking for Morris. Does well to get through the traffic. Egamalesi Smith runs on centre wing. His kick up to half forward. Oh, it's almost turned over. Searle is there for the Borough. Should be able to mop this up into the path of Walker. Fumbles at the crucial moment. Dragged down in the Moore tackle. He's going absolutely nowhere. Waiting for this ball to be released. The umpire says, I'll throw it up. Boy, he had an opportunity there to get rid of that footy. Might have got a little bit lucky. 10 and a half gone in this final term. 60 plays 31. Richmond leading. As Lyle doing the ruck work. Woofenden 360 in the tackle. Managed to release the footy. Ball held up. Chance here for Turner for the Tigers. The kick going up and high towards the 50. Chol. Oh, English spoiled him at the front. Ball spills free. Walker picks it up. Chance here for the Borough. Lyle handball over the top. Trying to put it into the path of his teammate Pearson. They've got some space here. It is a smart play. Hooper's got it. Handball across. Walker. It's going to be an advantage free kick. Cracker. 55 from goal. Oh, Waddell's all on his own. He doesn't want to run on. He takes the mark. Waddell was standing all on his own. There's that quick movement of the footy you were talking about, Hilly.
Yep. Really smart. It was all set up by Eli Templeton there by turning the ball back into the corridor. If he had played the wings, it would have been predictable. Richmond covered that territory so well. But the corridor was where the
Here's Waddell, kicks the goal. A faint pulse, just a faint one. 8:12.60 plays 5:7:37 in this final quarter on VFL Live.
It was a really interesting decision there by Waddell not to play on there when you're taking that mark 25 metres out with only one player between him and the goal square and a handball over the top if needed. But anyway, he made the most of it and slotted the goal, so he made the right decision.
Jordan Lyle into the ruck here for Port Melbourne, taking on Ivan Soldo. 8:12 to 5:7. Is there enough time for Port Melbourne? It's 23 points as we speak. Umpire puts it down. Bounce will favour Lyle. Bounce not recalled. Interesting decision there. Baltus wrapped up in a pretty solid tackle there by Giobbi.
And he seemed to take the tackler on too, so there's another one maybe the umpires may have missed on that occasion.
Been going for more than 100 years and still holding the ball seems to be a contentious one. Naish towards half forward. Butler nudged his opponent out of the way, but it fell for Woofenden. He's going to pick it up here eventually. No, decides to play some soccer. Butler does push him out of it. Then it was picked up by Collier, and Cracker is dispossessed.
No, it was Butler. Butler had the footy.
Okay.
And he was dispossessed by Cracker.
All right. So Cracker.
Richmond have done well to get back here.
Right foot ball goes inside 50. It's going to fall out the back. Bouncing ball. Morris hit it hard. Left it behind though. And, well, Khan Haratuki's there, but it's on ground level. Ball up inside 50 for Port Melbourne, who need a goal here. Another one makes it interesting. 13.5-minute mark of this final term. Umpire throws it up. Southern end of the ground here, right by Richmond Station. Here's English. He clears it out for the Tigers. Doesn't hit a target, though. Miller was there. Good tackle there on Arts. And it was overrun by Woofenden. There for Miller to collect it. Half forward. Looking for Baltus, but a really good mark taken there. Reading it very nicely in flight was Searle, and Port Melbourne are away through the middle.
Yeah, they are. In the middle of the ground we go. Cracker again, working on Morris. Tough body work. He took the mark, Cracker. Borough fans wanted 50. That was never going to happen. The kick inside 50 is a dangerous one. Working here is Coleman Jones. Manages to get the ball away. They work it to that outer side. And Turner, one of the better players for the Tigers today, takes the mark.
Gary Ayres talked about that composure at three-quarter time. And on that occasion, Cracker just needed to hit a target there, and there was two.
Hooper flew over the top. There's going to be a free kick here. That's interesting, because it's played against Jake Arts in front for holding Hooper out. I would have said unrealistic attempt, but that's just me. Arts stood his ground, and it was Hooper who flew over the top and just got over his back too. Interesting. The kick finds Walker here for Port Melbourne.
It's a really important time for Port Melbourne. If they could get one here, they're sort of back in the contest.
65 from goal. He goes with a high ball. Garthwaite got there with the hand. It's pinballing around. Morris picks it up across to English, who kicks Richmond outside the 50. It's a bouncing footy. It's in the front position, but Hooper got there again. Back to Walker. Walker's kicked to no one in particular. Coleman Jones coming in. In fact, not Coleman Jones. It's Miller who's picked it up on that outer side, and they've got some run going. Charles the link play, but they've got some more options here.
They've got numbers here, the Tigers.
Stand by, Butler.
All the way to the goal square.
Stand by. His kick. I think he's got it.
Yeah, floated
he
through.
snuck it in. He stuck it in just. Butler had the space. Boy, oh boy. And it just floated. Goodness me. It was like just those final moments where it just could have drifted left. It didn't, and Richmond, I think, are pretty much home here. 9-12-66 plays 5-7-37. 16-goal final quarter here on Peter Jackson VFL Live.
Yeah, you'd say they're almost certainly home now, Pete. 5 goals the margin. With Port Melbourne only had 5 goals on the board, you'd say it's too big a total to chase down.
It's 5 goals in 10 minutes, because it's not going to be an overly long quarter.
It's certainly something that we've seen Port Melbourne do, but they're just unfortunately not being able to capitalise going forward at the moment.
There's a severe lack of efficiency when they go into attack. That's probably going to cost them dearly today, Hilly.
Yeah, just breaking down at half forward, as Tommy O'Sullivan said at half time. Oh,
they haven't really fixed it since quarter time either.
No. The rest of their game has been quite good, and their half back line has been outstanding today.
Might have been half time, I think, when you spoke to Tommy O'Sullivan. Was it?
Yep.
Hooper
yes.
takes the mark at half back here for Port Melbourne. Then he spots up Templeton. What does Eli do? Inside
Good
50. Kick. Lyle jumped at it. Haratuku was there as well. The two twin towers. He fell over as he tried to get the snap away. He can't. Still can't. Brought down Morris. Ball up. Inside 50 here for Port, who really need a goal from this entry.
Have to give Hugh Beasley the points today over Khan Haratuku.
Free kick here, in fact.
Ooh.
Steve Morris to take it. So that's not ideal. Mark taken by Fletcher. 2 goals to his name for today. Comes off his line, the left foot toward our broadcast side of the ground. Scholl again jumped underneath it. No mark was taken. They're out here, Richmond. Interesting handballing ball by Baltus, Silvestro, and they are out. Here's a chance for Thompson, who takes a bounce. Wants to give it off by hand. Butler to finish it. No, over the top to the square. Moore will finish it. Tigers will get the points today. 10-12, 72 to 5-7, 37. Almost time on final term.
Well, again they got done on the overlap.
Yeah, and there's a few bowed heads as well for Port Melbourne at the moment. And when the chase was on there was 4 or 5 Richmond players streaming forward, and a few trailing Port Melbourne players. So I think they know this one's gone, but they still have to fight out the next 10 minutes or so.
They are looking at a 0-2 start, but against quality opposition. Williamstown into Richmond. Tough start to the season for Port.
And got Box Hill next week.
Doesn't get much easier than that.
And
in their first home game at the newly laid surface there at Port Melbourne.
It's going to be fantastic. There's the ball back in the middle. They're a man down too, Port Melbourne. Jake Gasper not taking any part in the second half, the 23rd player today. Goodwin just trying to hack the ball forward. English received the Shepherd, managed to pick up the footy. Gets it across to Beasley. In fact, it's Ballard as the ball here dragged down is English in the tackle. And Walker has got it for Port Melbourne. He's kicked to Jolly. On centre wing on that outer side. Handball over the top. Sullivan, the link player. Now Templeton. Now the other O'Sullivan, 43. And they're both called Tom. Makes it interesting to be able to call them. There's a ball here. Collier Dawkins. They've worked it nicely. Again, the link player Baltus, and Scholl comes in, takes a sliding mark. And for a tall player, that was near his ankles.
Might be too late today, Hilly, but we might need some middle names for the 2 Tom O'Sullivans.
Yeah. I'll chase them up for the next game.
I know you've got a lot of friends in the Port Melbourne setup. Just work on that one for us before our next game.
Ask both of them how they'd like to identify themselves.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to go.
We've gone the captain, not the captain. 43, the other one. We've tried them all today. There's Chol, goal in the 3rd quarter. His kick here from 45 just drifts, and it's another behind. 10-13-73, plays 5-7-37 into time on in this final quarter.
Remember, they'll play for different sides, but once upon a time in the AFL we had 2 Nathan Browns, and I think one was Nathan G. Brown. Anyway, here is Tom O'Sullivan, number 4. The hand pass out wide, Goodwin, Jolly. His kick towards centre wing, running onto it nicely, is the other Tommy O'Sullivan. To Pearson. Oh, it was almost O'Sullivan to O'Sullivan there, Peter. Got excited, but not to be. Now, Lyle, not a great kick coming his way. Garthwaite with the pressure. Lyle got rid of it. O'Sullivan, that's off the boot. Out of bounds on the full.
You better identify that one.
That was Tommy O'Sullivan.
That was the 43.
Yep. Fluoro orange boots makes things slightly easier as well, although the other Tom O'Sullivan, one of the more recognisable plays in the hard yakka totally workwear VFL. think we get middle names next time, Pete, for our second Port Melbourne game, whenever that may be, as the ball goes out of play. Boundary throwing.
Yeah, a bit later on in the season. So 73 plays 37, 21 and a half minutes gone in this final quarter. Good day for the Tigers, and they go 2-0 on the season so far.
Looking to get the double today, of course.
Win over Geelong last week as Greer. His quick kick out of the pack is going to be marked, sort of diving style, by Vespremi.
Who do we think has been best on today for Richmond?
As the kick goes short, Templeton, as Adam goes to the stats. On centre wing here, Templeton for Port Melbourne. The kick going inside 50. And now Haratuku is uncontested. He takes an uncontested mark, I should say, and he'll line up and have a shot from just inside the 50.
It hasn't been a high disposal game today. Might be leaning towards Dan Butler. 15, 1 goal, 2, 7 tackles.
As Haratuku gets on with it quickly, the kick is a good one. Khan gets his first on the board.
It's just watching his run up there closely, and he took 11 steps that time, and I'd say that was a marked improvement on his previous set shots in this game.
So, well, they draw one back. They're not going to get the win today. 10-13-73 Richmond. Port Melbourne 6-7-43. We've gone almost 23 minutes in this final quarter. Winding down at the Swinburne Centre in this round 2 clash. Back to some of the stats.
How do you feel about chasing down Dan Butler after the Siren Hilly?
Well, that was my first thought. His stats don't jump off the page.
Yeah, but no one's do for Richmond.
I thought that his run off half back and when he's been in the middle has been sensational.
He's taken 8 marks as well, 7 tackles.
And when the game was on the line too,
Yep.
A couple of his blistering runs off half back, which set up goals, have been pivotal. So I would say he's in the best couple on the ground.
The leading disposal getter on the ground is Fraser Turner for Richmond, but he's only got 18. So it's been a low disposal day. More. Late one here for the Tigers perhaps. Ballard, can he finish? He can. He celebrates as the ball's in flight. Another goal to the Tigers, 11-13, 79 to 6-7-43. The margin's blown out to 36.
One of the other players I thought it's dominated at full back or centre half back today has been Hugh Beasley. He certainly had the better of Haratuku, so he's another player in the mix for best on ground, I thought.
Been a team effort, really, across the board. It's nice that, you know, we talk about guys like Beasley and Jacob Ballard and those guys that are on the VFL list. I mentioned right at the very top of the broadcast, so important for them, the VFL list, when you've got all the changes going on at AFL level. But boy, they've got some talent in this side. Bounce to the footy again in the middle of the ground, again just inside the circle, notionally favouring Goodwin. Brewer lost a handle on it. Hemble across from Blair into the path of Cracker for Port Melbourne. The kick dribbling inside the 50. Malesi Smith trying to find his way through. He does. His handball, though, went straight to Jolly, who fumbled at the crucial moment. English just hacked it out. Little handball over the back there from Naish, trying to find players in space. They do as the kick heads up towards centre wing. A fly there from Arts. Couldn't quite bring it to ground. It's on the deck now. The Tigers still have possession. The kick in short is good. Naish gets on the end of it, and he'll just slow things down a little bit. 25 minutes gone in this final quarter. Match is won, although they'd love another couple of goals here before full-time. Chol, great body work. Inside 50 takes the mark.
Chol's another player whose game has grown today. He started very quiet in the first quarter, but he's had real impact since quarter time. In the air and on the ground. Just seems like he's playing a little smarter. This is my first look at him this year from last, and he's made some really good decisions today, whereas in the past I think he's tended to take the wrong option at times, but he's had a really good solid game.
It was just his body work just to move Hooper out of the way. Steps inside the 50 does Chol. The kick on the way misses near side. So 11-14-80 plays 6-7-43. We've gone 26 minutes in this final term here on VFL Live. And now the ball's been turned over inside 50. Brewer picks it up and kicks. A goal. He's got it. They've been made to pay. Boy, it was slack defending there from the Borough.
And it's a shame for the Borough because it's turning into a blowout now, and that's not really been the contest. they've been right in this all the way along, but scoreboard-wise, just been 3 or 4 goals behind since that first quarter.
So the margin now out to 43 points. Grua's first goal. So 12-14-86, play 6-7-43. We've gone 26 and a half minutes in this final term.
We've got a problem here. Not enough numbers up forward for Port Melbourne.
As Walker runs there. Did well.
The umpire, I think, just allowed him the time to get there.
Well, I think the other thing too is that they're giving a full 30 seconds. They have to wait to get drinks onto the ground and off the ground, and everyone can get back into position.
Back live. 12 touches, by the way, for maybe a Chol today. Just to finish your point there, Healy on his game today as Egmalesi Smith gives it to Silvestro, who's just come back out onto the ground. Grua, quick to get it off by hands, and the Tigers look to penetrate once more and start building some of this percentage. The kick is on the way. Cal Moore's in the square. So is Chol! A nice mark. And a goal to go with it.
Good kick by Arts too. Put
Great,
it in there.
Yeah, great kick, penetrating kick. Good marking option there, Chol. And is that his third for today?
Second.
Second for today.
He's had a couple of shots at goal, but just put the 2 through. Well, this, as you say, Hilly, this is disappointing for Port Melbourne. They've just fallen away in this final term.
And you could see it 10 or 12 minutes ago when the chase was on the wing. There was heads down and some joggers. And that's disappointing for Gary Ayres and the coaching staff. Don't want to see that type of thing, and the scoreboard's now reflecting it.
Yeah, 6 goals in this quarter to 2 in favour of the Tigers getting the job done. As they've gone 28 minutes in this final term, not long to go now. As the ball's back in the middle of the ground. That's a better bounce from the umpire, although it did get close to leaving the circles again. It was right in the middle though, as Hooper handball across, looking for Walker, who just gets it onto the path here of Templeton. Melissa Smith trying to get in the way. Pearson with a handball over the top. And another opportunity here, the Borough. Cracker steadies and kicks the goal from 35 outs. His first of the afternoon, and just got a bit of a goal fest going on here. It's not going to make too much of a difference as we're counting down to full time. For the Tigers, they've got a bye next week. And the Borough, as we mentioned, welcome Box Hill to Adkins Stadium in Port Melbourne. 13-14-92 Richmond, 7-7-49 Port Melbourne. 29 minutes gone in this final quarter.
Box Hill in action tomorrow at Marvel Stadium against Sandringham, who I believe are wearing red, white and black, I think. There's a clash jumper this year. Back in the middle. Kanara Tuku's in the ruck now for Port Melbourne as Templeton emerges with the ball, a former Zebra himself, towards half forward. Lyle just nudged out of it by Beasley. Interesting stuff there by Tommy O'Sullivan. Coughed up the ball in the end. Egmalesi Smith, that's a nice kick out wide. The mark is taken by Collier Dawkins. He goes in board. He's at 15. It is for Fletcher.
I should go to Arts here. By the way, he's playing his 50th game for Richmond.
Jake Arts could be another option, Healy. He's been good today. He has as this man, Chol. Gets the final touch of the game and a win for the Tigers by 43 points, and they are 2-0 in season 2019. 13-14-92 to Tigers. Port Melbourne 7-7-49.
The goal kickers to full time. We've got 2 each to Moore, Chol and Fletcher, and singles to Butler, Arts, Miller, Soldo, Ballard, Grua and Caulfield. And for Port Melbourne, 2 goals to Blake Pearson and singles to Haratuku, Templeton, Cracker, Johnston and Waddell. A big win here for the Tigers, and they get the job done nicely. A 43-point win. They led by 4, 21-21 in the 3 quarters. Let's get down onto the field. Straight to you, Hilly.
Thanks, Pete. Joined by Jake Arts, and that was a really comprehensive performance by your team in the end.
Yeah, no, it was good. We knew they were going to come out hard. Last time we played them here, we sort of touched them up on this ground, and we knew they were going to come out firing, but we just had to match them in that area, the contested ball and that. So fought well.
They certainly lifted their intensity after half time. Did you feel that in the third quarter?
Yeah, definitely. They play a real, like to hold possession of the footy, go through the corridor and all that sort of stuff. But, as long as we could stick at it and cover the exits in the corridor, we're going to be right. So we just had to keep going.
Your defensive unit worked extremely hard today and obviously held Port Melbourne to only 14 scores for the game. That was a crucial part of the game.
Yeah, it's good. We like to play on a short pitch, keeping it in our half of the ground. So when we put on forward pressure, and it helps out the defence really well. We can try to keep scores to under 10 goals, which we did today. So it was good.
And your 50th game as a Tiger today.
Yeah, it is. It's
no banner at the start.
No banner. I'm sort of feeling a bit old now. I keep notching up to 50 for the club, but no, it was good. The boys have been awesome. So yeah.
Well, congratulations on a terrific performance for the Tigers today, mate, and we'll see you throughout the season.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Nicely done. Thank you, Hilly. Great work by you today. On the boundary line, 13-14-92, Port Melbourne 7-7-49. We've got about 3 minutes left in our broadcast this afternoon. Let's get some key numbers from you, Adam, please.
Leading disposal getter for the Tigers was Fraser Turner with 22. Naisha ended with 19. Egg Malesi Smith has 17 as the Tigers are clapped off the ground here after a 43-point win, and Jake Arts will actually be chaired off in game number 50.
Well, I didn't get a banner, as Hilly pointed out. I don't think he was too interested in doing that, but hey, why not?
The stats here, 15 for Ballard and Butler, who for mine was probably best on ground today. 1 goal, 2 for Butler as well. Caulfield 14, English 14 as well. 13 in the end for maybe your child. We'll go to Port Melbourne, and the man that had the most disposals on the ground is a bit of a surprise. Shannon Lang got 22 in the end, 20 for Ben Jolly, 19 for Templeton. Harvey Hooper got 17 and Searle 16 for Port Melbourne. Are we a chance to get the song here or not?
I don't know.
I don't know where Hilly is at the moment, actually.
I'm sure we'll hear it come through if it does.
Might be a chance. Maybe some team stats now.
Yep,
if we've
very
got them.
quickly.
I'll take a look at that. If we get the song, I'll just be quiet. Kick count plus 25 for the Tigers today, and handballs Port Melbourne. Have we got the song? I think
no.
we do. All right, so Port Melbourne actually got more handballs in the end, 93-80 in marks in favour of the Tigers. Inside 50s, 46-44, an even count there.
The other games to come in round number 2. Casey are taking on North Melbourne at Casey Fields. That match getting underway in about a half an hour's time. We've got Werribee and the Coburg Lions tonight, 7 o'clock at Avalon Airport Oval. Marvel Stadium curtain raiser tomorrow, 11:50 start. Sandringham taking on Box Hill. Geelong to face the Northern Blues tomorrow at 1 o'clock at GM HBA Stadium. And Frankston taking on the Seagulls down at Skybus Stadium. The latter as it stands at the moment with only a handful of matches played. Footscray and Richmond leading the way. Of course, they've played more matches than most of the others. Then Essendon, Box Hill, Werribee, Williamstown, Collingwood and Coburg. Next week, we've got round 3 action. We'll have a double header for you from Avalon Airport Oval. It's North Melbourne and Essendon to start off with. And then following that, we'll have Werribee and Geelong. For these two sides today, as we mentioned, Port Melbourne taking on Box Hill. That's at Port Melbourne. They've done the grass, they've done the fences, everything there. And Richmond have the bye. Thanks for your company today. 13-14-92 Richmond, Port Melbourne 7-7-49. A 43-point win to the Tigers. They kick clear in that final term and managed to get the job done nicely after leading by 21 points at half-time and also 21 points at three-quarter time. Thanks for your company today, wherever you've been listening or watching us through vfl.com.au or SEN app, sen.com.au, also on SEN Digital Radio. We look forward to your company next week as we do it Easter style. It's a double header, but for now, from the Swinburne Centre at Putt Road, it's goodbye.